like we are today. But yeah, it is. It's our last one. So, I mean, let's enjoy it.
Why not? So about that garden, Tim. You back in it tomorrow?
Weather dependent. The couple of jobs that I've got, so the next couple of jobs that I've got is one, I've got a little bit of sometimes on like paving flags and outdoor flags and like masonry, you get a little bit of like black mold on there if you've got like standing water on there and stuff over years. So I've got a special cleaner, so that's going to go down, but obviously I need good weather to do that because I can't have it getting washed away. And then I've got some fences to paint as well, same dilemma. So yeah, if it's bad weather, I'll be playing Siege all day. If it's good weather, I'll be out in the garden doing the jobs.
All right, fair play, mate. Well, we can be inside a Consulate right now because our bands are flowing on through, which means it's about time, Tim. We'll be getting to our last series of the day and get things started here. We spoke a little bit about the map veto during the EML we've got to think of a real cool name for it now, and I can't think of one beyond the EML podcast right now. I imagine we can combine Fortress in there somewhere. We'll think of something creative. But when I was looking at these maps earlier on, this map is actually Falcons' most banned map. Like 13-2 record, they've banned it away 13 times. It's been banned against them twice, even more so than their perma bans, because teams haven't banned it so often. They have won it twice. They beat Genji 7-0 last week, so I think to their tune, they're thinking, you know what? It used to be a perma ban, but now we can play it. Okay. And to Vertus Pro, they probably weren't expecting this to be the map they'd head to today. They'd look at the map called the Falcons and expect something else. I have a feeling across both of these maps, knowing that Virtus Pro will go to Cafe, Falcons are in here with loads of counter prep, loads of ideas on how to beat them. Whether or not Shaiko is awake enough to make use of that information, we're going to find out, because here we are with round one, Falcons on the attack, BP on the defense. Let's get into it.
Yeah, we saw both of these teams have a little bit of a struggle today in getting into this game. Virtus Pro, of course, going to absolutely tons of overtime to get Gen G taken out, but Falcons as well, in their first map, it was very back and forward, and there was plenty of opportunities for match call. Second map went a little bit more one-sided towards Falcons, but both of them have been tested at least, so I'm expecting them to come in with some pretty high-quality siege straight off the rip. We're going to have that meeting closet wall opened up. Drones will start flooding on in. Ooh, did well there to avoid that mute jammer as well. We just saw as the drone spun 180, the mute jammer behind it, but had managed to jump clear of its area of effect. So they will now be scoping out the inside of that site, trying to get a little bit of a pinpoint information on where everybody is playing before they start to push in. I think there's also going to be a bit of pressure mounting from the admin side as well, now that they are established in there. Quick moving, actually, from Falcons so far.
I mean, look at Falcons' lineup overall, Tim, and it just looks like the perfect set-piece play. Every single time I catch these guys are saying it, and I'm sure everyone's sick and tired of hearing it by now, but Dockerby and Deimos, that is their bread and butter. They have these two operators available. You're going to see them playing them an awful lot on the other three. I mean, Grim, to be fair, I think, has played more than both of those. The other two are very much for an execute, and as they lose players like Shaika, Solotop here, sorry, not the best start for them, because that Capitao is so critical as part of this lineup. It's got the smokes on side, of course, the firebolts to move players away. You now lose a lot of ability to control Virtus Pro. Sure, you can use things like the light screens and the Grim Beast to help out, but Capitao just brings so much along that now that's not available, they're going to struggle a bit more here, and I don't think Virtus Pro will mind this being a 4 versus 4 as it stands. Yeah, a bit of the problem that Virtus Pro have got here, Des, you're absolutely right in what you're saying about Capitao, but look at the other operators on the side of Falcons. It's like they've brought an entire lineup of execution-focused operators. Yeah. They've still got Grim, still got Sense, still got Dockerby, still got Deimos. You know, they've got so much utility to work with there that's going to help them find an opportunity to put the diffuser down. But 4 versus 4, we know there's going to be a challenge coming pretty soon on that little cubby door. He knows.
It's going to be Shaiko. He certainly does. He sees the shadow. He's got the information. These are the marginal differences sometimes. If players can just squeeze that little bit of intel out, it gives them everything they need. Shaiko takes a lot of damage there, so does always, but it's Joystick who goes big with a double. Always manages to find them. Shaiko, Joystick makes it 3, and Virtus Pro in the end were pretty comfortable, Des.
Can I just say, I feel so bad for our observers there. They sat there watching Shaiko, expecting the swing for a good 20 seconds. As they change away to a different player, the swing happens. It's like a cast the curse, but on their side of things, unlucky guys. But I think that round itself was really interesting because it was a very, very slow and careful round from Virtus Pro. We've seen this from them when we've cast them last week as well, where they'll play out around the map a little bit, look to waste a bit of time, but don't really look to get too involved in being aggressive. They'll happily step back in towards site, kind of bring the outer rings of where they're currently controlling the map back in a little bit, play nice and tight towards the end. So for a long time, it looked like Falcons had a lot of control and a lot of flexibility, and sure enough, they had things like the Docker Be Cool to guarantee that they had map control. But the key thing was when that last Docker Be Cool came out, when they started their push forward, Vertus Pro, every single player just sprung into action. It was like stepping onto a track or something, Tim. They all spring into action, destroy every player on the side of Falcons. So although it looks like Falcons got a lot of map control, really it was orchestrated by Virtus Pro all along. They were happy to let them have that ground because they got to these really difficult spots like we saw for Shaiko, at top yellow, a little bit of a bottleneck, and he got hard punished for it. So great first round from Virtus Pro. Falcons probably going to wake themselves up a little bit here, Tim, because like I said during that podcast earlier on, I'll keep calling it the podcast now, I think they're going to find they're coming a little bit worn down here. The adrenaline high during that series was there early. They said it was a hard series and it was an absolute war to get over the finish line. Virtus Pro have had some food, but the adrenaline probably hasn't fully worn off yet. It's going to take Falcons a couple of rounds to get themselves back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I think Solotov dying, not necessarily in terms of utility, but in terms of position, was a big factor in that last round. Not having the pressure directly on site. Like you said, yes, they took control around the map, but never really bothered anybody on site, and Solotov was in the position to do that, and not replacing him meant that it was kind of tough to get those defenders moving around out of those primary spots. Going straight in for a challenge. They do manage to take out the ex-Kairos pellets. Shepard is going to take some damage on the way, but Solotov takes more. Opening death 2 rounds in a row. Pasha cuts him down, and that's going to be advantage Virtus Pro, 5 versus 4.
As much as I was saying earlier on, the Falcons are going to be prepared, doesn't mean that Virtus Pro won't be. They'll know what's going to be coming based on what they've seen from previous play days, and it feels like every move that Falcons are making here, Virtus Pro are already 5 steps ahead. The fact they went so aggressive onto Solotov as he came solo in towards that east side of the map, knowing there'll be no support from any of the player on Falcons, beautiful. Dealing with the aggression here coming into Art, beautiful. Yes, it's come down to a 4 versus 2. They've got rid of Dan again, 2 rounds in a row that he's been the first player to go down on his team. They've still got a 4 versus 2 here, Tim. They've still got C4s. They've still got those information to play behind. This is a very, very tall order for Falcons to get this one over the finish line.
Just having a peek in through the bomb site, trying to see if they can pick anybody up around pillars, but you just know Virtus Pro are not going to give anything away that easily. Playing in behind those keeper barricades, mirror windows, they've got all the cover that they need. If they do step out and show themselves and give Falcons an opportunity, I've got to say it will be a mistake. There's really no reason for them to do that until Falcons get themselves established above and get a bit more pressure on, but with only 2 of them left, it's going to be very difficult to do that. They kind of just hoping at the minute that Virtus Pro give them something, but in a 4v2 there's no way that they're going to.
No. I've often said this, I need to go and do the number crunching at some point separately. I might even do it after the stage has ended and go back and look at some interesting new stats, but I would put Virtus Pro up there as one of the least clutched against teams that are in the game right now, because again, they tighten themselves so well together. They don't let players go nuts on like a tear and kill 3 or 4 of them all at once. If nothing else, they're the ones often doing the clutching, so I just don't see a world in which they let Shaiko and Brede get away with this. If they get a plant down here, Tim, it's an absolute steal because they've got that C4 in back pocket.
Just sees the man above the blue tarp there. Can't quite manage to find his shot. Brede does get one, so it gets something going, but with 17 seconds left to go, they really are going to have to think about putting this diffuser down. He's got Shaiko on the cover. Kumine comes out, but that's the important kill. It's going to be over at that point. Pasha manages to find Shaiko and then always cuts down Brede. Second round goes to Virtus Pro, and it is a solid start to Consulate. 2-0. Top floor, basement, both ticked off. Now let's see if they can hold that third choice site, which will probably be Piano and Exhibition.
It's a similar thing in that round, right, where they've gone a little aggressive in the early round to get the entry. Back in round 1, it was through Cubby. That round there, it was on towards Solotov, and then largely have pulled themselves back together around Piano, then all fell back down to site and just taken up their positions. They're not the kind of team where, unsurprisingly, one of our top teams in the region isn't one of those that's going to go crazy around the map, wants to get a first kill, going, yeah, I can get 3 or 4 in this round and then end up costing the team anyway. Just that discipline amongst them all is so, so impressive to see. And probably quite critically for me, Tim, Joystick is having a great game so far as well. I look back historically, I've said it many a time how he's really struggled on the entry. Remember he was playing Sledge a couple of weeks ago and he was always the first pick and I felt so bad for him. But he's 5-0 in this game. He's really having a good day so far. I do put a lot of that down to the fact that Falcons, it feels, aren't really in the game yet. They're going to have to get there soon, otherwise VP are just going to run away with this first map though.
Yeah, absolutely. That they need to make sure that they put in the brakes on, because Virtus.pro, for you know, as much as we talk about, you know, the negatives, the limited map pool, you know, the structured play that can sometimes be a little bit predictable. On the flip side of it, they have got ability and experience in abundance, and like you say, there isn't, I'm not sure there's another team like them, or there's not many, that once they have an advantage, once they are on top of a team, that will let them get back in, you know, that will control that game like Virtus.pro. They will not allow a team, you know, back into it very often when they're 5-1 up, for example. They know exactly how to then just grind you down and finish that off. So yeah, Falcons, they need this round, you know, for me, because Virtus.pro are then going to cycle back through top floor and basement again. Neither of them have been close to Falcons. So yeah, I think they need this one, otherwise they're staring down the barrel of 5-1 at least.
Well, they're going to try a shield play again. Brede, the one looking to lead the charge here. Got the line aside, of course, with those scans to help feed the push on forwards, along with the Grim, a staple of this lineup. They absolutely love this operator and run into the absolute death is the only way that I can really put it. Right, you look across their numbers, to be fair. Useless is the one who plays it the most, unsurprisingly. And here they're going to try, of course, make use of this information they've got with that, plus the EE1Ds to give Brede a clear path in to try and bring someone down. But they need to find an isolated player on Virtus.pro. You can't go charging onto one man only to get shot in the side or the back by somebody else. They've got to be really careful here. Now they're trying to get information and kind of massage these players into the right spots. They really sorely need an entry, though, Tim, and Brede's going to try and find it.
Gonna get in there, gonna get himself an opener. That's big, but Shepard finds users elsewhere. Actually cuts down Brede. That's the tip of the spear gone. That's the shield. And now Virtus.pro can just play that trade game, and they will understand that. But look, Dan and Shepard both on low health. Solotov, Leak Effect, they at least have all of that HP to play with. Joystick takes a little bit of damage as well. There's a minute left for them to survive here, so this is certainly not cut and dry for Virtus.pro to be winning this round. They've all dropped back down to site, and interestingly, Shepard is actually all the way down in basement, Nitro in hand. So Virtus.pro, very much in their front of their mind is, how do we stop a plant if we need to?
Hello? Joystick? A siege-timing moment and a half. Yeah, Joystick there, just not respecting.
You okay?
They've worked their way down yellow. I think he assumed they dropped into site and were holding down site itself, but no. Not for paying the price for that. Still got the vertical here as well as down comes the drop. Solotov going to step in and try and get this diffuser down. Virtus.pro at real risk here of letting this one go unless Shepard can get underneath. And here he is. C4 coming up. That's close enough to get the kill. And now Leakefak has got to do it all by himself. Tries to step across. And Shepard's got the second from below. Virtus.pro, once again, very patient. Admittedly, a closer round. As you can see, Falcons are warming up. But that doesn't change the fact that they're up 3-0 right now.
I don't often say much negative about Joystick. I think he's a fantastic player. I've loved watching him over the years, but I've got to say that I think he almost nearly handed that round on a plate to Falcons. It was just obviously a little bit, it's one of them things that happens. It's a lack of intel. Like you say, he thinks something else is going on, and he ran out. I think he had utility in his hand. He wasn't even ready for a gunfight. Just absolutely sells himself at the bottom of Spiral Stairs, and that was a real turning point, because I thought, hang on a minute, they've got a 2v1 on site here, but you got to remember they've just got that super solid Shepard on the back line. How many times have we seen it from him where he just controls around in the last 20-30 seconds, you know, and he's so cool, calm and collected about doing it as well. He is without a doubt one of the best players to play in that supportive role in the whole of Siege, the whole shebang, everything that we have seen out of this game. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, and he does it once again. Tack timeout comes in. Falcons, they're wanting to have a little chat because 3-0 down is not looking good for them.
Completely. And I speak about this often, right? Once a quarter in the game has passed our first 3 rounds, it's a good time to have the conversation because you're probably playing those same 3 sites again. So whether it's something specific across those sites that you're seeing go wrong, whether it's a communication or an energy issue, whatever it might be, it's a good chance to have that little natural pause, have the conversation again, because you kind of get another one when it comes to the half when you're going through the rebanning phase again anyway. I don't think we've seen like awful stuff out of Falcons in this half, but this round was definitely the closest they got. This play here, sure, he dies, but a second player immediately comes inside a bedroom and gets the trade off the back of it. It was good from Falcons. They were pushing forward as a team, but when you're relying on Brilliant to get the first kill and then go in solo and get the second as well, I was a little bit like, surely at that point we can pause a little bit here. You're a blitz, for God's sake. You can flash somebody out. So just a couple of moments where they're a little bit out of sync, not quite at the usual level just yet. I've said it'll take them a few rounds to get there. They sorely need to be getting there now, because you can't be stepping into this being your map pick and be playing this poorly so far across those first few rounds. Like looking at the bottom left corner of your screen, they've got 6 kills in total, 2 kills per round. That's how dominant it has been for Virtus Pro, and it has to change now.
Well, you're exactly right about the map picks as well there, Des, because going into Cafe, I'll be honest, I'm not really going to back Falcons going into Cafe. You know, if we have a look at their recent history on there, it's not the best. I think if I look all the way back to, that's just looking to beginning of June, if I look all the way back to, say, the beginning of the year, to the start of January to now, and we look at Cafe, we're talking 1-3. That is not... It's not a great outcome for him. That might include some of the old roster, so I'd need to be careful just to filter out and make sure it was only including the after the roster changes. But it's not a map they're renowned for, put it that way. And you called Vertus Pro coming into this and going 2-0, Des. We're not there yet, but Falcons need to think about it.
Me and Leo have just got absolutely massive brains, that's all it is. But no, they are 0 and 12 on that map. It's the map that is always banned against them without a shadow of a doubt. So, again, I think if Falcons are willing to let it through, they're coming in with some counter-prep planning. The same way we would have hoped they'd have done so coming into this map. Yeah, you haven't seen Virtus Pro play it, but you've no doubt scrimmed them on it. At least here things are starting out okay. You lose the Grim, okay, not the best. You get rid of the Goyo, okay, also not the best pick you try and make. But this is why Goyo is so good for the defenders, is once that gadgetry is down, you are a free gun. And you've got a Vector in hand. The Vector's pretty damn lethal. It's a headshot machine. But here we go. An execute coming into a default window plant spot here as well. EMP's going down to try and deny away any C4s coming in. And sure enough, none have come out yet. Always goes down to, it looks like Tim. They finally found the answer, as they are absolutely sweeping through Virtus Pro here, who can do nothing but look on. Only joystick left standing. Diffuser down against 4. Falcons will finally get on the board.
Yeah, way better from Falcons this. I think simplifying things has helped them there. Last time they were trying the meeting closet wall, they had players in admin, they had players at top yellow, they were really spread thin, trying to get something going across every area of the map pretty much, and final kill comes in as we knew it would. Shaiko's going to be the one to pick it up, despite the keeper barricades going out. But yeah, last time they attacked that back in round 1, they had a couple of players admin, 1 meeting closet wall, they had top yellow, they had so many different things going on at once that it was easy for Virtus Pro to kind of pick them apart and take the 1v1 fights. We saw always step into closet, take out Solotov on meeting closet wall. We saw, you know, the challenge on to Shaiko at top yellow. He was on his own, and it was kind of always a 1-for-1 fight. Whereas there they said, right, let's not play into Virtus Pro's games. Let's keep it simple. It's honestly, it's probably a take that you've done yourself in ranked. It's not a complicated take. You just stop people swinging around that half wall, that bookcase. You make sure that it's clear behind the desk, and that's it. You see, he always locked down. They were smart enough to bring the Thatcher, so you send the EMPs in, make sure that it doesn't matter if there's a Nitro below. The only thing you've got to concern yourself with is that there's not a player downstairs in Piano, which Falcons knew that there wasn't, so they then have the space to win and get the plant. It's super simple. It takes out all those other risk factors, and it gets them the job done when they desperately needed a round. So great decision from Falcons, well played, well executed, and it gets them on the board. 3-1 still to Virtus Pro.
You know what I think is really interesting is they probably wouldn't have been able to get away with that the first time they attacked that site, because what ban have we seen come through from Falcons? The Mute. It's a staple for this game. They played it every single round, and what does the Mute have? He's got a C4. They only had 1 coming into that round, and that's why we had things like those EMPs being dumped in just for that 1 C4 that might come on through. They'd always be facing the risk of a player being in below or a C4 being long-armed. There was always something that could potentially affect them a little bit there. Yes, you do find that those EMPs help out, but you're still going to be worried about the fact they'll juggle a few of them through at different points as you go along. So it was just a again, I think, a really good way to ban the operator away, take away a real linchpin of this Virtus Pro lineup. The operator they absolutely love playing and try and capitalize on that, and they've done very well with it. You might see more of the same here as they're trying to work their way through and towards the main breach, and they will get away with this one, it seems. It's already opened up. What I'm curious to see, Tim, is where they go from here, because this isn't the same as the other site. You can't just all-in rush this one. You can certainly try, but I can almost guarantee you'll get shut down while trying. So they're going to have to play things a little more tactically here, a little bit more slowly, and figure out how to pick apart this Virtus Pro lineup.
Well, they really need to go and get the kill onto Joystick. He's playing in piano at the minute on the Legion. He's got the shotgun, so he's opening up verticals. So even if they do manage to get in through the breach and get deeper, say, he's just going to be able to open up new verticals above wherever they do decide to put it. At the minute, that's not something that they're directly addressing here, Falcons, but they need to. There's going to be a trade there. Shepard and Leakerfact managed to find each other. That's the Ace gone and the Malusi gone. Not a huge loss for either side, really. That should be fine. They don't have any essential utility or anything. This is the important fight. Solotov moving down. We're going to see Sharko taken out by who else does? Joystick. And that is why they needed to clear him out of piano.
What I'm most worried about is Leakerfact, I think, has tried to go in and obviously get the hatch opened up. If he's died with all those Selmas in the back pocket, I didn't catch it earlier, that hatch probably stays closed, and that is a real problem for Falcons here. They're going to have to go and hunt players on this top floor and force them away for if nothing else. But as we've already seen, they've lost 2 players to that end already. The Dockerby's gone, the Lion has gone. They've got users on side with 1 smoke picking the back pocket of Brede. They aren't going to be able to capitalize on making best use of this glass, and so the whole round plan has fallen apart because Virtus Pro are happy to play around the map and pick off these individual players on Falcons that are trying to enter and get control of the top floor. In a way, Falcons aren't playing as a team, Virtus Pro are.
They still need to go and deal with piano, is the reality. They're 4 versus 2, so Joystick's just going to stay up there. Pasha has come back down to side to support it. And this is exactly what's going to happen. They're just going to keep peeking because they know they don't need to worry. Last time around, if you remember, we said Virtus Pro aren't going to take these fights. They know that they don't need to. And that was because both players were on the breach and they had it sort of covered from the back line. This time, they know that they can take the peaks. The reason that they've taken those fights is because Joystick is still upstairs with a shotgun in hand of his own and he can play the verticals. So they don't really need to worry too much about what happens inside a site. And that is something that Falcons really failed to recognise in that round. And I'm honestly quite surprised by it. The fact that they haven't recognised that Pasha and Joystick are upstairs and are a serious threat and are working together as a pair to keep themselves in that position and to hold it down from there, and that they haven't gone in and tried to clear them in numbers. Leakerfact goes in on his own, Solotov goes in on his own, and they lose both of them. It's got to be more of a concerted effort. If anything, they should have been considering probably taking, maybe even CEO, getting a couple of drones in there, getting in there quickly and opening up that floor a little bit, as much as they could maybe with the DMR or something. Get that floor open a little bit and force Joystick and Pasha to make a decision as to how long they hold on for. As it was, they didn't. They were quite happy to just stay there and take their fights. It was really well played from Virtus Pro. Good understanding of the site that they were defending, and they lock it down comfortably. 4-1.
It's kind of like I was saying, I just think at the minute Falcons have got these players entering different parts of the map. Think back to Solotov in round 2, and that last round there is a great example of 2 players trying to be solo. They just get picked off by these players on Virtus Pro, are happy to push out around the map, knowing they're against a relatively slow team that they can punish, because Falcons was so focused on having the glass and the hard breach sat on that garage door, waiting for everyone else to get themselves set up and ready. And so they're playing the game really well, as you say too, and I completely agree. Falcons are the ones who need to figure something out here. They've had that attack timeout. They'll be praying for a better second half, and that's not a bad start to things. Getting rid of that only C4, I believe, in the back pocket of this Virtus Pro side. Does that mean that maybe things like the smoke bolts coming out from users is going to be really effective? Or that Brede can get a little more aggressive in places here? It's got to be mindful of things like the Legion, the smoke, of course. But I think getting that as your entry is a fantastic start. And Falcons, they really need this round win.
I'd agree. I think getting in 4-2 here, or 2-4 if you look at it from Falcons' perspective, is, whilst not ideal, I don't think it's the end of the world for them on the attack of Consulate, because going on to the defense, I kind of would expect them to be able to get that 4 rounds and at least take themselves to overtime. It's going to be tough for Virtus Pro in the next half of things when they get onto the attack. So for me, Virtus Pro want to be winning this round pretty much almost as much as Falcons do. They're going to be holding on from above for the time being. 4 versus 5 is still how it is looking for them. And as you can see, Falcons getting in there. They know that those verticals are going to be covered. They're looking for those reverse gunfights. Just try and get themselves something so that they can move in from main door comfortably and get that wall opened up into sight.
All right. Let's see how they can start pushing their way through, because they've now made use of both of those calls from the Dockerby as well. Again, to force Virtus Pro back, but as we've remarked on a few times, Tim, Virtus Pro don't really mind being pushed back towards site here. That for the most part, they've sat there somewhat unbothered, expecting, okay, maybe we're going to get a peek on the vertical. That's what Falcons have been waiting for, but Virtus Pro, again, have just been so careful to this point. The thing that I worry about for them is they are now really largely out of utility. This is their last smoke coming out here. There's still a minute to play, and we've got every player on the Falcon side left alive. No smokes to play with, but a lot of fire in which they can cut out these players. Almost dying there, and hello, there's a player inside the room with you. Need to be respectful of that one. 3 players fall very quickly. I'm sorry, you have stepped into the Virtus Pro death zone. Please leave immediately. A 3 versus 2 now as Falcons, what looked to be a great round for them, Tim, it's crumbling before their very eyes.
Yeah, and Virtus Pro have got the same situation as they had last time. They've now got 2 up above. Pasha gets a kill from exactly there onto Solotov, and they don't have to go anywhere. They can just hold on from up there. So Dan, if he wants to, can take a bit of a peek on site if he knows that Usus is going into an area where he can challenge him, because he can be confident that his players above him are going to hold it down and lock out the round. 5-1 is, whilst not perfect, it's not 6-0, it is a perfect start for Virtus Pro here on Consulate. Not their map pick, and they've come in so solidly on the defense. Now they're in a situation where all they need to do, I say all they need to do, as if it's easy against Falcons, is pick up that 3rd choice site each time. That's all they need to do, is go in and take away the weakest site from Falcons.
Yes. However, Tim, there's a classic saying that I have in any game of Siege, and that is there are 2 halves to a game of Siege. You've come out there and seen Falcons not be able to pull together a cohesive attack. You've seen Virtus Pro play brilliantly on the defense. We could be saying those exact same 2 sentences here about opposite teams after we've seen a couple of rounds, because Virtus Pro might not be up to it on the attack today. Falcons might be absolutely sublime on the defense. You just don't know until you get into that half what you're going to see. Yeah, it's quite rare that you see an absolute rollover unless there really is that massive a gap between teams. And let's be frank, these are 2 of our top 3 teams that we've got in the region right now. There isn't that big a gap. So I wouldn't be wholly surprised if Virtus Pro struggle to get themselves over the line here in the next 2 or 3 rounds. It might take a little bit more of a fight than that.
Yeah, I'd agree. 7-5 wouldn't surprise me. Overtime wouldn't necessarily surprise me here.
With how we've gone today, Tim, nope.
Exactly that. You know, let's just carry on. Stars we mean to go on. But yeah, I think, look, it's not just about Virtus Pro here. It's about, for me, the way Falcons have been playing. And I think there have been serious gaps in their attacks there, as you've picked up on, Des. You know, going in solo, not working together as a team. Again, I'm asking the questions. Why did they not push upstairs? They spent an inordinate amount of time around that main door, looking up at the verticals, hoping for somebody to show their face to get a kill. When it didn't happen, they just walked into sight. I think it was either Likafak or Solotov who went in first. It was actually the first kill, so if I have a look, I'll know. Likafak gets the kill onto Shepard, but then they just start getting cut down inside a site, and it's because they haven't dealt with the top floor. And it just seems like such a fundamental thing for me. If you're attacking onto Consulate, particularly if you're attacking onto Piano and Exhibition, you know that you need to deal with Meeting and CEO, and I just don't feel like Falcons ever really did anything to deal with that, and they were punished for it. And so that's the reason that I say that is, coming in here on the defense, am I confident in them coming in and playing so well and so cohesively that they get a 5-1 half? And the answer at the minute from what they've shown us is no, because I don't think that they've been playing very well so far in this game.
We'll see if things change. Like I say, Tim, we're in this half now, and it's a round of explosives. Like 6 frag grenades being brought along by VP, 3 C4s by Falcons. It's a bit of a game of cat and mouse here. Can they catch them up with C4s before Virtus Pro chew through things like the Goyo canisters, through those mute jammers, so on and so forth? You do have to expect them to get your way through this sort of like information denial net that gets established by Mute. And here already is coming to heads at the top of these main stairs. Shaiko with a great shot there onto one. One lay down, waiting for the second peek, and sure enough, it starts coming on through. I was going to say, always, my friend, you cannot stay there. They'll be back for the re-peek, but keeps himself alive. Now, Virtus Pro play from a man down, and things are equal. Back to a man down again. It's not too bad. But now, though, Tim, they're in the driving seat. Virtus Pro still looking to work their way through. The Blackbeard's got to do something, but no. Shut down there out by 2 or 3 players on the side of Falcons. This is what I mean, Tim. You've seen them play playing well as a team here on the defense. Virtus Pro have spread themselves very thin, and they've been punished by little moments of 2v1s coming out from Falcons. Really good first defensive round.
Yeah, this has been much better from Falcons. I think it may be one of those games that we see where teams just struggle to attack, just struggle, you know, to get that momentum. But Falcons certainly looking much better immediately in round 7, which is what they needed. Shaco doing a great job from long desk to hold down that push from Spiral, and I feel like it was again, it's kind of like, you know, banging your head against the wall if you're Virtus Pro. You're coming up to top Spiral. It's a tough challenge onto long desk anyway. You've got 2 of you pushing it. You know that there's 2 of you there. Sometimes you just got to call it off and say, you know, let's keep our lives. We've got time. Let's take advantage of that fact and go and see if we can get a better angle. Leak of fact, beautiful shot onto Dan. Cuts him down 4v1. It's looking like it's going to Falcons.
He's padding out the KD a little bit here, Shepard. Still got 3 players to work through inside 35 seconds, and yes, it feels incredibly unlikely that he gets away with that. But we've all seen those magic moments, Tim, where people just defy expectation, defy the odds. Shepard with a chance to do that now, but he's got to move down quick at this point, and maybe not quite shooting that trap is going to be a sign that things aren't quite going to go the way that he planned. Falcons going to dig themselves in, get ready for a crossfire here, and surely they don't give him a bunch of 1v1s here.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. They know exactly where he's coming from. They're going to be ready for the challenge. They both swing at the same time, as you can see.
Very good.
Perfectly played. I think it was Users and Leak of fact that were in that position. Bathroom and CEO swing at the same time. Make sure that there's shots coming in from 2 directions. No chance for Shepard. And Falcons look immediately better now that they've got themselves onto the defense. Much more comfortable. But, like I say, has too much damage already been done by Virtus Pro on their first half. Falcons more than capable of fighting their way back into this, but it's going to be those 3rd choice sites that likely define how this half goes.
Sure. And this is again what I was saying. You might just see those names swapped around here, and we use the same sentences to describe either team. I just thought the way Falcons played was really, really smart, forcing out 2v1s like you're going to see here. It was an attempt by VP to do the same. As you saw, Joystick always both working their way up Spiral, but it all just started crumbling down from there. That great shot for a second as well. Like, oh, sees the head, but still gets stoned first. Unfortunate in that spot. But Tim, that means we've got a game in our hands here. Falcons could very well battle their way back in. Now all that onus, all that pressure turns onto VP to be the ones to find a way to crack through that fortress, to get around on the line. Can they do it down here in basement?
Yeah, I was pretty critical of Falcons on the attack. I've got to do the same for Virtus Pro there. I find top Spiral a bit of a strange place to push from with 2 of you. There's not a lot of space to fight. You're going in through a double door. As soon as you come up against 2 guns there, I think you got to call it off. But Virtus Pro just, you know, kept on pushing and lost those players. Little bit of a peek from Shaco, starting to feel that aggression rising from him. He's wanting to get involved in the fights. He hit a beautiful headshot for the opener onto Joystick at top Spiral in the last round. Also got the kill onto Always there as well, and pretty much broke the back of the Virtus Pro attack himself. He's going to be off into the map, and that is a problem that Virtus Pro need to deal with.
They might be reading this quite well. I was going to say, Falcons are quite scattered around the map right now. Understandably, they want to control as much of it as they can, same way Virtus Pro did, and then find themselves falling back towards site, like layers they fall back through to get back towards the site, just like an onion, Tim. And I think at that point, knowing that they have to potentially catch someone out, Virtus Pro with the shield at the front may have had a chance to charge on Forge. You've got things like the Jackal, you've got things like the Dockerby. They've got a lot of options to punish roamers on the side of Falcons, but by the time they're inside the building, they've largely already disappeared back.
This is exactly what I kind of suggested Falcons should have done when Joystick and Pasha were in these positions, lounge and exposition into piano, you know, just to make things difficult. This is what Virtus Pro are doing. Get hold of that top floor, get some verticals up above them, make it more difficult for them to play in those positions. They know that they need to get those kills. Leak of fact is taken out by Always, so that creates a gap down in the basement. It might now force one of those Falcons players back downstairs, but not just yet, as Solotov finds his kill onto Always, and that is great for Falcons because it gives him and Shaco that little bit of freedom to keep playing up on this vertical position.
Again, every player they manage to pick away is one less available for the execute itself. Again, vertical's been removed away with the sledge. Beautiful stuff to get rid of. You've still got to deal with the fact they can find their ways through with things like the breaching charge in the back pocket of the ace. They can get set up here, but look who's on the lurk, Tim. Not the lurk out on the road, really. Oh, he's getting punished a little bit here. Solotov could be so mindful of this Blackbeard and how close it's going to get. Joystick gets rid of his man. Just punish him out around the map again. This is the control that you get from having these operators on side, the Dockerby and the Jackal, just meaning there's no funny business coming out of Falcons. Problem is, Tim, down to the last 40 seconds. A 4v3 is perfectly losable here unless they can get themselves set up perfectly for a team-wide execute.
Yeah, time's definitely going to be a factor. There's a black eye camera as well, I think, that's just pestering them. We could see Shepard ducking down, trying to check under tables for it. They've not got a lot of verticality options. One stop reach charge on the side of Shepard to be able to get a little bit of verticality going on from Piano. Pasha takes down Prede. Absolute beauty. Falcons could be in serious trouble unless the clock comes to their rescue. Users manages to get one, but the plant is going down. That's going to extend the amount of time that they need to survive here. Shaiko, he's on the hunt but can't find anything. Dan gets one of the 2 rounds that Virtus.pro needs, and that was the concern that I was raising for Falcons coming into this half, Des. With having lost 5 rounds in the first half, the damage might already be done, and by Virtus.pro grabbing round 8, there is now a long way for Falcons to hold on.
They're just stifling.
Yeah.
We've said it's like playing against the machine sometimes, against the Terminator, and that round, I think, really epitomised that. You try and roam against them, they've got Jackal, they've got Dockerby, they've got a shield to chase you down, you're dead to rights, and that's exactly what happened. And when it comes to hitting sites itself, they take a couple of minutes to, well, not a couple of minutes, the round will be over by that point, but took themselves a good minute to get drones in, identify where the players were. You saw yellow pings coming into all the rooms where these 2 or 3 players were left standing. And then what happens? You have 2 players pushing from yellow. You've got Pasha coming down backstairs as well. Just everything moved in perfect timing there, and it's so hard to deal with that. The comms go a little bit crazy. You're being shot at from 2 different directions. There's only so much you can do. But what I also love from Virtus.pro is the discipline at the end there. They're in that 3 versus 1. They aren't going nuts trying to secure their kill. They're looking to get the plant down to guarantee they at least win the round. And I speak about this a lot, or I spoke about it earlier on, you know, it's not one player getting a kill and going, oh, I can get 3 more this round and going bananas out on the roam. It's that composure and team first mentality that's really shining through. No surprise they're up 6-2. And Tim, honestly, we could be on for a pretty quick series because, again, I think going into Cafe, that's Virtus.pro's map that no one wants to take them to. They could just win this outright 2-0.
Yeah, I'd agree at this point. I thought Falcons might come in stronger here, but ultimately Virtus.pro have just played better as a team. That's what I'm seeing so far. You know, that last round was a really good contrast. We spoke about the way that Falcons didn't clear out Piano and Exposition, whereas Virtus.pro went in numbers and got those kills, got those verticality, and were able then to push into site and get the other kills that they needed. So really well played from Virtus.pro. They find themselves 6-2 up, and they just need one more attack. As it is, Falcons 4 rounds in a row that it's going to take. And the thing is, if you look at them individually, they're not actually playing too badly. We've got Pasha and Joystick 10 and 9, you know, across their kills. But when you look across the side of Falcons, it's not amazing. But we've got Shaiko 6, Leakerfact 5, Solitov 5. They're certainly getting involved. They're in the mix, but they're just not getting enough in any one round to be getting those numbers up onto the board.
They're not really shining right as well. Like, they're doing it okay, but where's the Pasha on the side of Falcons right now? There isn't that hero player. And you know, dare I say, I said it earlier on, that during the game against Matchco earlier, they had 4 clutch rounds that really they shouldn't have been winning. You know, 1v2s, where Matchco, if they'd won those rounds, would have potentially won the whole series. It's a little bit of a stinger for them in a way. But now you haven't got those players being able to pull off that same kind of thing because you're against a team that do not allow themselves to get clutched up against. You can see why the rounds just simply aren't going their way, amongst many other reasons. And I think here with how it's going, Virtus.pro again taking this slow and steady approach to the round, having the Dockerby on side, IQ to help clear out all the utility on the way on through. It's not as heavy like Roam Clear, but it's still pretty slow and measured by them until Solitov has popped up at a window and got himself a bit of a freebie there. Small lapse of attention has caught them out a little bit, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not a huge loss. The Ash going, you can live with that. There's no mirror on side that needs to be dealt with. So not the end of the world. Still got the Dockerby, but it does certainly put Virtus.pro on the back foot, especially now that Dan and Joystick have taken a bunch of damage as well. Joystick does manage to find Shaiko before being taken out. The Legion being lost is not ideal for Falcons, but Solitov with a big double that probably gets Falcons the round here. But Dan manages to find him. 3 versus 2. It's not quite over.
Imagine if you're the one who's, I think it's latest for Solitov now, he's playing at 1 AM. If he'd gone on and got himself an ace in that round, it would have been pretty magic. But all else fallen by the wayside. Shepard, yet again, is stuck in a 1vx. You've seen him here before, and he couldn't get out of it in that situation. This one, unfortunately, feels no different. Right idea on where the player is. Will get himself a kill, but it's got 2 more to go through. Both playing upstairs. They'll deny from above here. If he gets away with the plant here, it's quite magic. However, There is still a C4 in back pocket for Brede. He can just drop it through the floor, happily find his man. He can try his very best. Maybe one's going to be a bait. Is he going far or is he going near? He's going near side. Brede's taking a spray. No C4 coming out just yet. Might actually get away with this. And there we go. Finally, uses steps out, gets the kill. Falcons hold on that little bit longer.
I did wonder for a second there whether Shepard was going to be able to complete that. It's just in the midst of a lot of smoke. You don't necessarily know where it's going to be, but Users just showing some great game sense there, managing to pick up that final kill. As soon as he starts hearing those shots connect, he knows that he is on target. So 6-3 it is now as Falcons manage to lock down that third choice site. They're going to be going on their full rotation again. It's up to top floor, but I'm looking at Virtus Pro and I'm thinking, do you just take a leaf out of Falcons' book? If we remember back in round 1, Falcons failed to successfully attack top floor. Pretty much the same way that Virtus Pro did. And by that, I mean almost exactly the same way. They were spread too thin. They were trying to challenge choke points, and it just didn't work for them. So what did Falcons do? When they came back to attack that site in round 4, it was their first successful attack because they just kept it really simple. They just went in there with the Grim, with the Thatcher, with the Ying, with the Glass, and they just got a plant on the window. They just dumped a load of utility into site, made sure nobody was underneath, that there was no nitros to come through, and they just got a plant on the window. It may or may not work for Virtus Pro. Falcons are going to be aware that it's a possibility, having done it themselves, but I'm looking at it and thinking, that's all that Virtus Pro really need is a little bit of luck and a little bit of cheese just to get one round over the line.
What's your favourite type of cheese?
I'm not a big cheese fan, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah, really. So I can't think that I ever really eat. I'm gonna call it raw cheese, but like uncooked cheese.
Raw cheese.
You know what I mean? But I generally only
cheddar?
Well, just generally I only eat cooked cheese, like on a pizza or a burger, or when it's like cooked and melted. Or like a panini. I do love cheese in like a panini or something, but I tend to go for like milder stuff. So I like a bit of cheddar, a bit of mozzarella. What's the
Do you push the boat out for camembert by any chance?
Not really a camembert or a brie kind of guy.
Right, okay.
There's another Emmental.
Emmental? Yeah, Emmental,
Yeah, I can go for a bit of Emmental. It's pretty like.
Careful, Tim. You're getting really exotic there with the cheese.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a big cheese guy, really.
All right. Well, let's see if the cheese that you were speaking about here works out for VP. Because I'm looking at the lineup and it is going towards the window execute like you were talking about. Yeah. But they've started out with an admin-sided push. 3 players are coming through here so far. Now, how much they can get done and execute maybe on towards this side of the map, I'm not 100% sure. You're looking towards something like the Amara and think that might be the player. Say that as Dan's now flying his way in nice and quick. Bit of a back there, trying to get some stabs into the back. He steps his way through. C4 to the face and C4 at his feet down. He goes. 3 kills going the way of Falcons. Virtus Pro have tried to catch them off guard here, Tim, but shut down by the fire and the flames coming out from Shaiko. And this one looks like it might be just about done. A good response by Falcons, Tim, and that means Virtus Pro have got 2 more bites of the cherry. Else, we're going to our 6th consecutive map of overtime.
It's certainly looking like it could be a possibility. Shepard just trying to get something going. He knows there could be somebody in behind the vending machine. There isn't. He doesn't need to worry about that. But Falcons are just going to hold these lines of sight now. They know that the diffuser's down in sight. Shepard's got a very good idea there's somebody behind that door frame, but you know what? He can't do anything about it. He needs to make his move. Does manage to collect that diffuser. Just gets that, ooh, beauty. Gets his peek from the meeting door, takes down Shaiko, but honestly, it's likely to be meaningless at this point because Falcons are just playing this super smooth, and look at it. Leakyfac is underneath on the pulse. He doesn't have a nitro, but it's not going to matter because he'll just spray up through the floor. There's no way I don't see that Shepard does this.
No, it feels I'm getting such bad deja vu. That's the 4th round I've seen him stuck in a 1 versus 3 at a round end. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. They're not really giving him much of the chance to do it. I love how, by the way, we were talking about this whole cheese thing, and Leo has popped up on WhatsApp, yapping away like he likes to do. Sitting here listening to 2 British guys butcher the pronunciation of Emmental and camembert is torture. Just because we don't throw a little bit in it doesn't mean we don't know how to say it, Leo. Come on now. We'll talk about this after the game.
to be fair, the French people do take their cheese very seriously, it has to be said. When we were over there a lot in Paris for EUL, as it was back in the day, I was always amazed when I went into like the supermarket, and we do have shopping there, and like go in and the cheese aisle in like the fridge section of the supermarkets over there was wild compared to like what it is in the UK. You get like a quarter of a fridge, maybe about 10-15 feet of cheese, whereas over in France it's like a full aisle both sides. There's like, I didn't know there was that many variations of cheese. They love it.
Anne's popped up saying so do the Dutch, they also love cheese, but I'm pretty sure there's rolled cheese down hills.
Maybe it's maybe more of a European thing. Maybe I've generalized. Maybe it needs to be more of a generalization rather than.
Yeah, I love a bit of cheese. Love a bit of cheese. Still, this one might be going moldy for Virtus Pro. They were so far in the lead. It looked like they had this one on a wrap, and so far Falcons have pulled back 2 rounds in a row. 2 more, as I said, and we're going up to overtime. Starting to build in confidence now. I said it might take a little bit of time to wake up. But it feels like it might be just about there. The Virtus Pro side this time round, no Dockerby on side, it being banned away by Falcons. I'm not at all surprised to see. It has been a bit of a terror for them being able to play aggressively on the roam. So like you saw there for a second, you're going to find them being a bit more aggressive towards front door, out towards windows, and really try and challenge Virtus Pro around the map. Because as we've seen, they don't really have tons of success when it comes to executes going off. They lost round 8 downstairs in the basement. It was a very good execute by Virtus Pro to punish them in the 4 versus 3. They don't want to get to that situation again. So the best way to do it is to not even give them a chance to look at an execute.
Aid will go in, looking to clear off that utility, same as has been done before. Let's just have a look at Falcons' positions. 2 up on the top floor this time to support Shaiko inside of Piano. So if you remember last time I said that Virtus Pro had gone in, taken that top floor really well, got the verticals down, made it difficult for those players to stay inside of Piano and X position. So Falcons this time have adapted. Nitro comes out, but Joystick manages to get away from any damage on the Blackbeard, and now his job is to chase down these roamers, but Solotov absolutely slams him with a headshot as the shield is dropped for Joystick to challenge.
Again, you could so easily swap the names of the 2 teams from the first half and land where we are now, because Falcons look like they're a different beast. They're hitting all of these shots. Solotov's up into double digits kills. Like, everything has turned around, whereas Pasha, I think, has only got himself a couple of kills throughout the half. It has been slow going over the last few rounds, really starting to struggle. And I do think Virtus Pro, if they carry on like this, will see us go into overtime, because Falcons are looking pretty hard to break down.
They certainly are. Maybe that overtime is a little bit closer than we thought it might be. Droning is going to be going on 4 versus 5, but it's just stalled Virtus Pro out a little bit, it feels. Last time around, they got that top floor control really quickly. They were able to push onto that mid floor and get those couple of kills, whereas Falcons have managed the map way better this time around. Pasha is going to come down, looks to take the same challenge into security that he did do last time. Doesn't get the kill, but Dan does manage to find it. Falcons always have an answer though. Again, Breeder steps up, manages to get the trade. Their trade game has been great the last couple of rounds. Solotov just running round freely, takes down Pasha 4v2, and Falcons look like they might just hold on for another one.
We spoke about that ban, Tim. Without something like the Dockerby on side, those roamers are going to cause absolute chaos, and Virtus Pro have just looked sideswiped to every turn by a different player on this Falcons side. They've got 2 of them now pushing in from yellow. This is all they've got to rely on. They're going to try and spin things up here and go for a drop last second, but there's a player upstairs. Guess she's going to turn around and spray him down. Of course, it's Shepard. Manages to get rid of at least 1, but I think at this point, Tim, they are pretty much guaranteed to be out of time. A drop into 1, and a second one surely to follow. In fact, no, the clock will get the last one. Up to 6 and 5. Please remember, 2 halves to a game of Siege, because you are seeing it play out here in action.
Virtus Pro, only 1 more chance. The pressure surely must be mounting on them now inside their own heads. They know that Falcons back into this one. I don't know who's starting on what side for overtime, but that could be quite an interesting one if it was, let's think, Falcons map pick. So Virtus Pro chose to start on defense to begin with. Falcons will have then chosen the overtime side. I think they will likely have gone with defense. So I think Virtus Pro, if I'm correct in that, need to get this done now. They do not want to be going into overtime against defense.
Gonna be rough. But maybe it's a defender-sided series that we're going to see playing out. Even stepping into Cafe, it'll be much the same story. was going to say, I really thought Shaiko would have got that kill as they rounded in towards Piano. I was almost like, yep, he'll hear them come in. He'll step up from looking down below. He'll get the kill, and the round's over from there. And I'm surprised they managed to catch him out by surprise there. But not enough time in the clock to get things over the line. Here we go then for a first floor defense, which means we're going to see Falcons up on that top floor, defending things out. No surprise at all. But Tim, like I said in that last round, you're probably going to see a lot of roaming on the go as well, because as we've seen time and time again over these last couple of rounds, without a Dockerby on side, they have just been punished. The roamers have not stopped all round long, and Virtus Pro are getting shot in the dark, just don't know where they expect players to be, and they're paying the price for it. I'd be shocked if Virtus Pro get this round over the line now, because Falcons, all the momentum is on their side.
Pasha going to be sending in the Bravo drone. The coach will go to try and steal some electronics. Important one to grab there. That's one bulletproof cam taken away. The only one that Falcons had. So, removing utility as they go. There's Capcan traps, Ella mines, there's all sorts that could be taken away. The mute jammers as well. All are going to need to be dealt with. Virtus Pro looking for that top floor control. It was something that I picked up on at the time. Falcons attacking this side, failed to get that top floor control and were punished for it. Will Virtus Pro have any more joy?
Any more joystick is what I'm looking for, Tim. Will he find himself getting shut down too early on in that Blackbeard? There's been sort of the driving force for them at clearing out roamers and the like, but of course, not too much that you can do when you're getting sideswiped or just simply have no idea that players are steady and stood around waiting for you to step on forward. Keep an eye on the Capcan this round. Now, here we go, stepping around on towards Brede. Gets the better of that gunfight, but has got a second one ready to challenge him. And this is the classic piece where you stuck at top yellow here, but you are drawing the attention of two players, and they are completely out of sync, Dan. Dan has gone into back and figure Dan now, apparently. But he's gone into a solo there as we've had joystick back away. He's Johnny on the ying. A little bit out of sync on that one. They paid the price, always trying to save things back for them, but he needs to keep on getting more for them. He has unlocked joystick, but they paid the price there by being out of sync, and I can only see this going one way, Tim.
Certainly looks like that. We're just going to have joystick still trying to work across. Shaco manages to get the kill onto Always, and yeah, I think the pressure and the tension has just mounted a little bit too much for Virtus Pro, and Falcons have found their feet. This is why I said Virtus Pro needed to get it done quickly, get it done early, and get them locked out before they could find that breathing space to get themselves back into this one, and that's exactly what they've done. So 2 versus 4, Solitov, Leakback, Shaco, all on full health as well. It's going to be really tough. Virtus Pro need to find at least the next 2 kills if they want any hope of doing this whatsoever, and Falcons are playing it smart. They are giving them absolutely nothing at the minute. They've just got themselves in corners, behind walls, out of the way, knowing that they don't need to challenge until they hear those drops come on into sight.
It's exactly that. Why take the risk at this point on playing on site and trying to be all smart about it when you can just step back a little bit, play the longer angle, wait for them to step on through, and then look to converge inwards. They've still got one smoke to play behind as well, so Leakyback actually has got great denial ability here, especially on towards joystick on the shield. Of course, a bit of a nuisance to deal with. They've already got one for themselves, and Solitov is just there. Again, a different beast when it comes round to the defensive side of Falcons. Both teams taking a 5-1 half. We're going to overtime for the 6th map in a row tonight, Tim.
What a night it is turning into. Let's see which side is which as we load into this one. Defenders carrying a massive advantage. 5-1 in either half for the defensive side. So whoever is on the defense is definitely going to be weighted towards getting the win on this first map. You look at this and you think, if Falcons are on the defense and they're able to come and take this here, you're almost immediately looking towards that map 3. It's not to say that Falcons can't win on Cafe, but like we said, Virtus Pro, it's just banned against them so consistently. We never see them play it because they're so good there, and that also means that there's not a lot of footage for anybody to actually prepare to play them there. It's doubly difficult, so you almost immediately start looking towards that Clubhouse finisher.
Someone earlier said Tim's talking like he's not a cheese fan while he's getting the cheese Rolodex out. Because you will listen, I lifted up quite a few names.
Different cheese names. It's like I'm friends with cheese, but it's not a big deal.
That's exactly what you were doing. Yeah, that's the way I heard it anyway.
5 seconds.
Bit too much time in those cheese shops.
Cheese, but it's not a big deal, you know.
Careful, Leo'll have a heart attack if you say that word wrong one more time.
I thought Leo's not going to be happy with me there. He was complimenting my French earlier, and then I've come out and destroyed his perception with them.
He'll never do that again now. That's it. You've ruined it.
I'm going to have to get him to pronounce it for me. He needs to send me a voice note or something so I can understand the proper pronunciation of him.
I ask him for a voice note every night before bed. I just go to sleep, listen to him talk. Normally doing a telestrator of some kind as well. It's just beautiful. Oh.
I've said it
now
before.
He's got a mullet as well.
Well, we spoke about Leo's hair, and I've said it before. Leo, for me at least, is by far and away probably the coolest person that I know.
Whoa. Don't let Ian Chambers hear that, mate.
Hang on a minute. It was Leo in Montreal taking Ian to the cool spots. I was there.
That's true.
Let me tell you.
When we were thrifting, that is very, very true. Should I put some seeds down, Tim?
Yeah, why not?
We are already a minute into the round as we go. Like, as you've already said, Falcons start on the defensive, which gives them a massive advantage. And VP may able to let this one slip away from them. That 2 halves, the game of siege thing, 5-1 halves, it's built to be exactly that. Here trying to get inside of Abin and we're struggling a little bit as the aggression was coming on through again. That Dockerby, of course, remains banned away. Leakafat finds himself down here, so not the best start for the side of Falcons, but can Virtus.pro close out of 5 versus 4?
Well, Virtus.pro surely are going to be kicking themselves if they come in here and win the attack. They're trying to... I think something was just blocking. I don't know whether it was the barbed wire or what. It just stopped that snap getting through, didn't get the job done. And Leakafat does get picked back up. So 5 versus 5 still, but Leakafat seriously low health. Virtus.pro have cleared out a lot of utility as well. But I was just going to say, imagine if they come in here after having all those 4 back-to-back chances to get 1 attack, don't get it, go to overtime, and then get the first attacking round. Just checking if there's anybody in behind the vending machine, but as the nade goes in, they will know that it's clear. Pasha does get taken out, so a long time after Leakafat was downed, it's actually Shaiko that gets the entry kill, and it's advantage Falcons 5 versus 4, and that really takes the pressure off the low health Leakafat now, who puts those 20 HP to maximum use with a kill onto Joystick.
Again, Virtus.pro does such a good job of making use of the frag grenades, the Retero drones to clear through utility, get rid of the Goyo canisters, the mute jammers, barbed wire, you name it. But they've got very much stuck at this main hallway. They've lost 2 players. And Falcons, rather than still trying to contest on towards the main hall, they've stepped to the layer back, Tim. They haven't got to be right up against it here and trying to keep them from being anywhere near sight. They can let them step on forward a little bit. A trade coming on through. Shaiko hits a triple in the round just when you need him most. He steps up big to 1 versus 4. Right idea always, but not enough time to get this one over the line, I'm afraid. This one looks to be Falcons winning their 5th round in a row now and taking us up to 7 and 6.
Yeah, he knew that there was one behind him there at the bottom of the stairs. Does manage to take down Leakafat, but it's all he can do. Final kill comes in. Falcons get that first defensive round, and this overtime starts to go exactly as we thought it might. It's going to be the battle of the defenses. Anybody wanting to actually come out and win this against the grain is going to have to find an attack.
Okay. Only 2 attacking rounds won across the 13 so far. And as you say, someone has got to buck that trend and get it over the line. Get the job done. Virtus.pro calling in their own attack timeout here. Yes, they're going on to the defensive side. But imagine 1, want to be sure there's no funny business about to come out of Falcons. And 2, probably also thinking about what round 15 needs to look like. And I imagine probably also the similar story for Falcons here. It feels like a welcome break. They get to talk about this attacking round they're going into and figure something out to finally break through this Virtus.pro line.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We don't often see many tactical timeouts in overtime. They tend to have been sort of pulled before that point. But I think for Virtus.pro, of course, because they got themselves onto 6 so quickly, because it was round 8 when they got themselves onto that 6th point, they kind of didn't really need to go for the tactical timeout. You wonder if maybe doing it sooner might have, got them to a position where they weren't in overtime. But having it available towards the end is certainly an interesting concept for us. We'll see how much of a difference it makes. They need, as I said, to get this first defense, then it is going to take an attack. And like you said, only 2 of those have been won so far throughout the 13 rounds that we've had. So it's definitely a big ask for Virtus.pro. We move on. It's going to be Falcons on the defense, and they are going... Sorry, Falcons on the attack. Virtus.pro are going for that top floor again. Actually, it's an interesting one because Falcons only won 1 attack, and it was on this stack. They were able to brute force a plant onto the window. We all know the one. Dump all the utility in there and try and just get it down inside of the window. Obviously, looking at the lineup, they're not going to try to go for that again. you know, they're not going to expect that they can get away with it. They're not going to expect. I'd be very surprised if they think that they can get away with it again. They've got no EMPs this time, so they've got no plan for any nitros that could be thrown their way. There aren't any on side, but still,
that's it, yeah.
You know, they've no real plan for dealing with that sort of counter utility. I think we're going to see them go back to the one that failed, where it's open the meeting closet wall, pressure yellow stairs, pressure admin, and try and kind of, you know, get around all sides of the defenders.
I don't know, I think there's a bit of a switch up coming in because it's not Brede running around the shield this time. They've still got some really good execute operators in the form of the Grim and the Capital. Be shocked to see what's coming for that style of execute again. I mean, things like air jabs are excellent for that exact use case as well, right? Being able to use those when you're going for that plant, force back any defenders to try and push their way forward. It can be a beautiful thing. But I think what you're saying is they've got to do a bit of prep work first, because things like that Chanka at long range are going to happily just pelt those Shumakers all the way around, bounce off the wall all day long and deny away that spot. That's a little bit unfortunate for you. They've also got a couple of smokes to play behind, but as you remarked, no C4s to work with. Not the end of the world, I don't think. They've clearly changed with how they want to try and deny this site. So it's Falcons who have had to adapt. And I think they picked this lineup specifically because they knew it was this Chanka lineup coming along instead.
Yep, going to get themselves into admin as expected.
Oh,
but are they aware of Joystick just lurking? The Grim Bees will dissipate and give Joystick an opportunity to move through here. They know that somebody's in there. It's just a question of who wins the gunfight. Joystick then plays the smart decision there, dips back out, gets the Kiba barricade on the wall, and that gives him a little bit of an advantage in any gunfight that comes now. He's likely to see the player before they see him because he's at a longer range away from that Kiba barricade. So going to have that meeting wall open a lot later than last time. I think that's Falcons learning. They opened it early last time and the pressure was thrown onto it, always peeked out of it straight away. This time, Virtus Pro probably not going to have that luxury with just a minute left to go.
No, and again, it's getting stuck around this midpoint. This hallway has sort of always been that bottleneck for both teams to get stuck in. Like, a team will get a kill or waste a bit of time, burn some utility, and then step themselves back deeper in towards site and look to sort of deny a plan from that side. Is going to be an X-Factor backstab maybe coming in here out of the other side? Looks like no, because we've got the Blitz playing inside the printer. So, at some point, Falcons have got to pull this trigger and hope to God what they've got in mind works. All three of them, I'll say all three. Three of them are set up here on towards this main side. You've got one who was off towards bathroom a second ago. They've got a bit of a spread, but they've got to make this plan work. And here we go. Smoke's going out, and now they start their move.
Going to need to start finding kills is what they're going to need to find. They're struggling to get through this fire for the time being. First one comes in, always onto Leaker back. And you just feel like maybe Falcons don't have enough time here. 15 seconds, Solotov onto Dan, but Virtus Pro standing tall, holding strong. Here comes Brede though, moves around, gets one. Can he find a second? He gets the down.
2v2.
That leaves us now 2v2. 3 seconds left to go, but they don't have the diffuser in a position to put it down. Brede just has to go for it. And the final kill comes in from VP. We're going all the way to 15, Des.
On map 1 as well.
I know.
It was a nice attempt. I like how they tried something a little bit different there as well. You know, making use of that, the corridor to get in towards site, being able to smoke off parts of it as well, so you couldn't be sprayed as you were running down from those lower holes on the floor. Even then, still find themselves a little bit stuck back, I think, by the Chanka coming out, because there was a player trying to play actually on-site door itself down towards the south. That was kind of going to be their pinch in towards meeting itself, get a plant down likely in towards that doorway, and they'd be absolutely fine from there. But because they were blocked off by the fire coming on through, Shoka didn't want to step himself through, a little bit stuck there where there was only really one way they could enter into the site, and it was all too easy for Virtus Pro to sit back, hold the angles, and be ready for the push to come on through. Really good stuff by both sides again. It's almost a shame in a way that we have to get broken here by, well, we assume a team going onto the attacking side who's very, very likely to lose, and it's Virtus Pro who have the misfortune of being the attacking team here in round 15. They've really got to book the trend here, upset the apple cart if they want to get Consulate over the line.
Okay then, let's see which way the cookie crumbles, but I think everybody is going to be leaning in favour of Falcons based on what we have seen so far. They've certainly had the run of things in the second half, being that they've been on the defence. And it has been the defence that has reigned supreme. I think 14 rounds, 12 have been successfully held. So Virtus Pro are really going to have to book that trend if they want to get this done. It's going to be attacking into Piano and Exposition. Interesting choice, but it makes sense. The one site that Virtus Pro were able to win was down in the basement. So Falcons, unlike Virtus Pro, who went back to their 50-50 site. Falcons will choose to go for that mid floor. Top floor is the big battle to begin with. They need to keep hold of the sledge, they need to keep hold of their vertical presence, and they need to force these defenders away. If Vertus Pro can do that, then maybe there's a win in this for them.
I mean, look at the lineup out of Falcons, like the Solus alongside the Mute and the Mozzie. They are going so hard on Intel Dinar right now, which is why Virtus Pro have said, forget about it. Always is charging in. Joysticks, of course, moving forward. The shield nice and quick. They're just saying, forget about the Intel boys. We're just going in and looking for fights at this point. It's high risk, high reward if they get away with it. Yeah, it doesn't work like that, Dan, I'm afraid. Can't get himself inside just yet. It's a little bit stuck at that point, but they've tried their fast-paced move here. Falcons have dipped back a little bit and sort of absorbed that aggression. Leak of fact, like you can see, he got tagged down a little bit as he was making that move away, but still keeps himself alive. The Falcons will be happy, I think, that they've survived that initial fast entry into the building. Now the worry is going to be, I think, on the Virtus Pro side, is how the hell do we gain any kind of ground here when we can't drone anything?
Yeah, I think that's, like you say, it's fine from Falcons so far. As a defense, that's what you're wanting to do when you're on an extension. It's about having those connections back to site, and you play back into it, and you drop back, you take and absorb a bit of pressure, absorb a bit of utility, hopefully don't take any deaths, maybe take somebody with you, and then drop back to each stage until you're back into site. Hopefully burning 30, 40 seconds each time you do so. A minute 15 left on the clock for Virtus Pro, and they really haven't done very much towards being able to put a plant down to start pressuring forward and execute. They don't have top floor presence yet. They don't have top floor control. Leak of fact, smart play. He hides himself behind the bookcase, goes out, gets the kill, and then gets himself back in through the basement door. Big brain play from Leak of fact.
And now he can play downstairs with the Solus and watch out for the plant. It's been so well calculated by Falcons. This lineup, again, very different to everything else that we've seen, and just giving nothing over to the side of Virtus Pro, who are now no doubt scrambling to think, God, we need to get this round over the line, boys, or the map is lost. We've only got 35 seconds to go, and we're down a man at the same time. It's not looking good.
Users is just being fronted up by the Blackbeard here. Manages to do a little bit of damage, but Pasha gets the kill. Do they know that Leakafak is just down at the bottom of the stairs? I don't think they do. They're going to have to start pushing towards site, getting into a position to put the diffuser down. One kill goes each way. 3 versus 3, but Falcons now with the advantage. Hugely so. Solotov, Shaiko, one apiece. Leakafak underneath. It's over as Solotov cuts down the last man, and Falcons from 5-1 down, 6-2 at a point, fight their way back to take map 1 in overtime.
One of them for the day. And this game, Tim, this map in particular could yet be another one. As we've said many times, this is a map that we never get to see Virtus Pro play. I don't imagine Falcons let this one through unless they've got something in mind here, something cooked up to make this a 2-0, but given how the last map went, honestly, it's anyone's guess which way it goes. The fact that we're seeing a Bravo band to start things out already tells me, Tim, they've got a game plan in mind.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. Nobody takes Virtus Pro to Cafe without having something in mind, without being ready for it. So yeah, I think Falcons have definitely come in here. The thing is, if you don't ban Cafe, you're going to be playing it with Virtus Pro. So they've come in here 100% expecting to be playing Cafe. The real question is not, are they ready for it? Not what they planned for it. I think we know those answers. The real question is, can they deliver to the level they need to beat Virtus Pro on Cafe? That's going to be the telling factor.
And what do you think? You think they can?
Yes, I do.
Spencer Shoko keeps on looking at Twitter, to be fair.
Yes, I do. Coming in, I said that I thought Falcons would win this. I thought that their second map had shown better siege than maybe we'd seen of Virtus Pro through their game against Gen G. I think Virtus Pro had a more taxing game against Gen G, and whether that's going to show itself right now or not, I don't know. But I stand by backing Falcons.
I replied with the Homelander tweet, the GIF. The reaction to the last one. Shoko's very happy being a bad boy. He does not mind that at all. Someone's got a screenshot of Leak back, obviously very focused and being focused on delivering ideas to the game, and there's Shoko just grinning to himself, chatting absolute crap. I love it. Well, hopefully he's locked in for this game, Tim. As the other caster did say, it's a very, very decisive game for them. We've already remarked on the importance of getting into that final and potentially winning it, because it means the lion's share of SI points. That is the big thing that no one wants to be missing out on. Lifting that hammer is something, of course, the Falcons are still chasing down. They came so close just a few months ago, finishing second place to FaZe, who were very, very deserving winners, let's not lie. But it'd be one of those things where we always said about Nesk and Palu. Could you imagine Thailand where they didn't win a trophy? It's a similar thing about Shaiko. Could you imagine him and Leakifak at that as well? In fact, the whole team not winning a limiting hammer at some point. It's a bizarre thought, but that hard work begins now. They've got to get over the line here on this map. So let's see how they fare on the defense against Virtus Pro.
Round one, we're into the action phase. Drones go out, looking to take piano control here. Virtus Pro. Pixel Spot is going to be one that they need to deal with. We've seen some real battles around Pixel Spot over the last couple of days in the playoffs around all the different regions. I know we've certainly seen them in Europe and in South America League, which we've been covering. And a lot of the time, we see the Pixel Spot player dealt with reasonably easily, reasonably routinely, but sometimes they're just able, I'm thinking Herds on Dock, just able to keep themselves locked in there. Beautiful start from Joystick though, able to take down Shaiko. That's going to be the Legion off the board, and he was ready for that one. Given that we're not on a top floor bomb site, we can see that Pixel Spot has been given up this time. They've dropped back into Washroom. Do manage to do a little bit of damage. 3 versus 4 as Leakifak takes down Joystick with a Nitro.
Yeah, moved a good pace here, though. Again, the nice thing about Cafe, yes, there's a few bottlenecks, but nowhere near as much as you've run into on Consulate, where it feels like every single doorway is just a chance for death. There's a mute jammer behind it. There's a Vulcan canister somewhere nearby. It makes life so difficult to actually move through the map, but you can't plan for things like someone dropping down through Skylight. Sure, you can contest them towards the guard for a brief amount of time, but if a team wants to move on this map, they have a lot more options in which to do so. The map's not quite as thin. It's more of a box than it is a rectangle. You'll know at this point. And so I think Virtus Pro have capitalized on that quite well. The only worry is, Tim, on this map, you do have to play across all 3 floors. A lot of the time, Romans, of course, can play on the downstairs too, even on these sites that are on the first floor. So with only 35 seconds to go, and really Virtus Pro are just starting to get moving on the verticals themselves. They can pay the price here. Sees his man, but no, doesn't quite connect the shot. So nail-bitingly close. The C4 comes up, doesn't find his man, but does catch out on a Goyo cannon, so it should tickle always his feet a little bit. Yeah,
Falcons have actually done a pretty good job of holding on here. Pasha's going to be moving up red stairs, though, and could be a threat coming in from the other side. 4 versus 3, 15 seconds left to go. Time is really going to be the decisive factor. Breedy, important kill onto Shepard. We just see Dan trying to quietly drop the hatch. Does manage, finds one. Did he just miss the player down inside the landing? I thought it was pretty clear, but he must. What?
I guess the Fenrir, I think. The Fenrir punished them there big time. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. And it was, because he was caught inside the FNAP for a short amount of time as well. And once they left the range, it was kind of anyone's guess what happens next. But we spoke about that time impacting them. Only really started getting verticals opened up at about the 37-second left mark. And it's paid the price there in that first round. They hold on, Tim, but let's not ignore in what fashion they've held on. Virtus Pro had a significant man advantage. It was a good first attacking round. They've just been punished by the clock.
Just let's see this again, I think, because he turns around the corner, and the big question is, does he see the legs, or is it maybe just the thing where it's not shown the Fenrir for us? But either way, when you've got 5 seconds left to go, it is so easy to miss the small details like that. And one way or another, Virtus Pro, they're maybe going to be kicking themselves a little bit. It was a round that was close for them, but they weren't able to get done. Falcons this time move on to the other mid-floor site. They're going to be moving to Reading Room this time, so it's going to be much the same defense. They're going to try to hold on for that top floor as long as they can. I don't think Shaiko will sell himself quite as easily as he did last time. He strayed out onto that balcony, had a little look, and Joystick was there, ready, watching, waiting, anticipating that movement, and took him down. So this time, I feel like Falcons need a better top floor hold. It was a little bit easy for Virtus Pro to clear them out.
It's going to be hard to hold them off on that top floor for a long amount of time for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. There's 3 or 4 routes that you can take to push your way around at any given point. So with more the way I'm looking at it is it's okay to concede that top floor, but you have to be willing to then fight really aggressively when they do get it. For tossing C4 skyward, you're willing to challenge, because they kind of largely sat there and waited for Virtus Pro to push in and execute. And as we saw back on Consulate, you give Virtus Pro time to execute, they're going to do it pretty damn well. So that's what we've got to be a bit more mindful of the this time around. As long as they aren't losing too many players out on this road, then I don't see too many issues with it. T4 come in to at least try and burn his way through. I'd imagine it would have been a Vulcan canister they were going for. Great shot out of Joystick to remove Eustace inside a Cocktail. So got one to worry about inside the bathroom. There is still one more player, I think, out towards Cocktail side, but not a bad start at all for Virtus Pro. We've been a little bit quicker this time.
coming into the round, and as you said, just being able to bring that speed. They did the same last time. It was Shaiko that was taken down, not Users. Users' utility, of course, is already going to be out there. They can't lose another. Dan manages to get Shaiko again. Leaker back onto Always. 3 versus 4. Falcons, you feel like they need to make a move here. They need to get themselves back into this round. It's going to be the next kill that's important. Leaker back, super low health as well. Virtus Pro surely can level things up here.
Well, you'd imagine so, Tim, but as we've already seen, they were in a 3 versus 1 last time and things still fell away from them. Do like at least how Solitor's playing aggressive here, like thinking, you know what, if we sit here and let them execute, we're probably going to die. So feels the need to be a bit aggressive, and this is where diligence on Vertus Pro's side is going to be so important. Do they know about the rounding? Oh, gives himself up a little bit too early there. Won't be able to get away with it. They'll know that he's around bathroom here too. They're probably going to get himself punished, but a nice shot coming through. Gets rid of Pasha. Virtus Pro looking to make amends, but no. He hits the second. Dan falls too. And like that, Virtus Pro are behind. A 2 versus 3 now to play out.
Falcons really feel like they're hitting their stride at the minute. Solotov goes for another. He can't make it 3. Joystick cuts him down and now has control of the top floor bar, able to start using some of them verticals, but they don't have much to work with here. That's the problem. Shepard on the Grim doesn't have any Bs left. They're going to have to go in here and take fights. Leak effect being low health is about the best thing that Virtus Pro have got going for them, but Breedy manages to find Joystick. It's all up to Shepard, Des.
I mean, I feel like we said that line so many times throughout this series already, Tim. 4 times at least on the last map. They've got the right sort of idea, but he's pulled off the diffuser as well, trying to readjust. But everywhere he looks, there's an angle that can threaten him. Going to try behind the bookcase, and this time round, he has to stick. Moving again towards the vertical, not quite finding the man. He will be able to complete. And they've let him get away with this one, but out comes one. No! Shepard winning it out, both on a single bullet of HP. Leakifak versus Shepard. Vertical versus below. Who walks away the winner? Leakifak dropping his way down towards pillars here. Gotta find that first critical shot, but Shepard is way on the move. He's already got himself outside here. Tucking in close now is leaking back. Shepard will have heard this one. Steps himself forward. Will he find his man in time? Yes, he will! And this time round, Shepard is not letting a 1vx get away from him. Takes the round for his team.
I said that low health for Leak Effect might become a decisive factor in the round, and ultimately it did. It dictated how he had to play that 1v1. He couldn't necessarily be as aggressive as he might have wanted to, being that he was so close to death. He kind of just had to roll the dice on the defuse, and he hears the footsteps. He knows he's got to come up for the challenge, but it was too easy for Shepard to close it out, and Falcons flew just a little bit too close to the sun on that one. This was beautiful from Solotov, I've got to say. That first shot, predicting that Pasha would be coming in at crouch height and hitting him through the bar, was just absolutely phenomenal, but ultimately wasn't enough for Falcons to get it done, so we find ourselves 1-1.
All right. I mean, Virtus Pro are still going to feel like, for the most part, they're the ones who have controlled this attacking half, a total opposite to what we saw back on Consulate, where it was all about the defense. I think across those first 2 rounds, again, that first round they'll look back at and be kicking themselves. They didn't manage to deal with League Effect. Does that one round prove to be the big influence later in this game? We'll find out as we move our way through, but again, from these first 2 rounds, Virtus Pro for me, Tim, looked like the superior team, and maybe, just maybe, we're getting a sniff at why no team ever wants to play them here.
We're going to be getting a sniff at Clubhouse if that carries on. Maybe Shaiko.
Melt him there. Bye.
Just injecting himself into the game. He's been a little bit quiet so far. First 2 rounds we've seen him taken out on Cocktail Balcony and Cocktail itself. This time he says, you know what? I'm going to get involved. Absolutely beautiful kill onto Joystick, and what an important operator to take out. That's the Nomad gone, so they've lost their ability to lock off those flanks as well. Probably won't know that, but Falcons might be able to exploit that. Breedy picks up Always as well. Sledge, so now Pasha has just become so much more important, but he has to go clear in Roamers.
Absolutely, this is the problem, right? They're always trying to slip up your backside here and catch you out. At least get rid of yet another. And it feels a bit like Consulate again, where the game is really against the roamers and less about the objective itself, at least in this round. The previous couple, different story, but Falcons really have had the run of things in this round, not being stopped or shut down at all, and making life look a little bit too easy.
Yeah, they're going to send Shepard in on Always his normal role on the fuse shield. Going to be going in just looking to try and clear a little bit of ground. It's something that we see VP use quite a lot. They can send in the fuse charges. It's actually going to do a lot of vertical work for them. It's something that you can do yourself at home if you want to blow open a soft surface like that, get the fuse charge on the wall, get the fuse charge on the ceiling up above, and let those explosive pucks do it. Logistics into kitchen on Clubhouse is another common one to use that utility in that way.
Themselves ready. Again, I don't expect Falcons, like we saw in one of the closing rounds on the last map, are going to keep anything open to Virtus Pro. Both teams, top teams of the region for a reason. Not going to make it easy for the other. Most part, just step themselves away, so can't be threatened by verticals, and are just going to wait to see when Virtus Pro come and drop in. Even with that 60 seconds on the clock, don't feel the need to be aggressive here and go peeking onto the verticals. However, the roam game is a different story because, yet again, they're keeping up with what has been successful with them so far and just constantly keep on poking Virtus Pro in the ribs.
Well, if you remember, I pointed out that Nomad that had been taken out at the beginning of the round meant that the flanks were going to be open. Leakafak, as soon as he starts moving up ready, recognises that there's no air jabs, I'm going all the way up to the top. So now they've got a problem up above them. Leakafak is able to drop down if needs be and control that vertical. Breeder manages to find a beauty onto Shepard. Dan's doing what he can, but he's battling two directions, taken down from VIP, and that is a round for Falcons, and they actually look much better there. It started off with that spawn peak from Shaco, but they just really doubled down on that energy through the round, and by the time the Virtus Pro were anywhere near a threat, they'd already lost the round.
That's it. I mean, it's a much better round from Falcons, the most convincing of the three that we've seen so far. Maybe it's the site, however you want to look at it, it's entirely up to you. Final couple of bands coming on through. Valkyrie, surprising nobody, and Twitch to follow as well. A good one because obviously we see Dan playing an awful lot of Twitch, but you look across those three bands there, they're definitely three of the most uncommon bands, I think it's fair to say, that we've seen from any team. And again, just dig back into what we were saying earlier, that Falcons are coming to this map with a game plan to try and counter Virtus Pro. They must have played them a bunch in scrims on it.
Diffuser has been dropped. Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Going to be moving in to round 4 then it's going to be. And we're going to move back to the same rotation. Falcons, a team after my own heart. There's avoiding that top floor.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
It's 50-50 at best. Quite often there will be periods of time where it is under a 50% win rate for the defenders. So Falcons will go in the top side and going back to mining this time around, mining fireplace, and will again be looking to hold on from this top floor. We're going to see a lot of that. They haven't actually done it very successfully so far, so we need to see a better performance from them on this top floor. First time around it was Shaco that got taken out on Cocktail Balk. Second time around it was Usus and then Shaco who got taken out up on the top floor. Falcons need to get that opening kill whilst they're trying to hold on up here. They've tried to go for the peak again. They've been punished. You can't keep doing it. Shaco got away with it once. Solotov got punished this time around.
That's it. Again, I think Virtus Pro are going to be a little bit more wise to that now as well, knowing that that aggression is coming out from the other side. Sure enough, I think with that Dockery not being banned the way they reached with themselves, it was a bit of a hamstring against them on the previous map. This time around, when they're being available, bring it along because you've seen Falcons being so aggressive. Equally on their side, I think you'll see Falcons start to adapt to that as well. You don't leave something like the Dockery open after previously banning it away and not expect to see it coming out of the other side. So things like that mute, 100% going to help out here, I think, to try and at least stem the threat that comes in from that Dockery.
Pasha just holding his angle for piano window in through cigar shot for the time being. See if he can catch out any of those defenders moving around. Knows that there's going to be a presence up on the top floor still, and there is a significant one. Leakafak, Shaco and Usus all up there in this triangle, this trifecta of operators just trying to support each other. They don't know about the position in behind the small bar, so Joystick will move himself away. Next kill needs to come for Falcons if they want to get themselves a third round on the board, but Vertus Pro, as it stands, taking out utility and moving their way across the map, albeit slowly, but they are starting to pressure Falcons.
They are. Sometimes, Tim, being slow is the name of the game. We've all heard the story of the tortoise in the air. No rush. As long as they can get kills off the back of it, and sure enough, the second one follows. Patience is being rewarded. Yet a third, as always, there is collected two from the same window, I'm pretty sure. A lot of damage from that new window. Two players taken out, pillar players punished. Surely in a 5 versus 2 and a Dockery call ringing out, they don't see themselves losing this round. Not when they've got 60 seconds still to play.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't have thought so. They're going to know exactly where these players are. Drone comes over white stairs, so that is going to give away Usus' position. Breeder just trying to hold cheeky angle from underneath in Laundry through the hatch up onto East Rappel. Trying to catch somebody out on that cocktail window, but there's nobody there. He's not going to get any joy. Usus And about reading door, the site is mining. Let's not forget it is over on the other side. So opportunity for Virtus Pro now to start working their way down red stairs, which is exactly what they're going to do. And then they can position themselves for that final execute. And honestly, from these positions, I don't see much of a chance of Falcons getting themselves back into this round.
Loading the magazine. One. And left ourselves 45 seconds have passed by here, and they've been pretty slow about it, Tim. Got to make their move soon. Could even lose a second player here. Almost losing it to the vertical. Sledge opens up yet another. They've got to make a move now, Tim, and they're bleeding out on players. We're down to a 3v2. They know there's one tucked in. They almost get a third. Try as they might, there's about 3 seconds still to play as the plant is going down, but they have absolutely bottled it, Tim. They had everything they could need. 65 seconds to play, a 5 versus 2, and Falcons have managed to come up massive there. What a 2v5.
The clock is really coming back to Virtus Pro. We've said it over the years that time is generally their problem. Playing too slowly, not taking advantage of what they've been given through the round. And this time, it is so true. Like you say, 45 seconds at least in full control of that top floor with serious man advantage, and they've not got themselves into a position to plant with more than 10 seconds left on the clock. So much so that Brede is able to just laser strike, just pinpoint accurate onto the one that he needs. Just takes down the planter and then keeps himself out of their line of sight, wins the round on time. Virtus Pro, they are going to be asking themselves some serious questions after that round. There's no way they should be losing that.
100%. And again, these are the kind of rounds when you let them slip, as we saw back in round 1. They'll be kicking themselves in the second half if the scoreline starts to go towards Falcons. It really should be 3-1 to Virtus Pro, but they're the ones that have let these rounds go against them. Fair play to Falcons, they've played it brilliantly well. You know, looking again at the banning strategy, I'll give this one to Fresh. Ferry was talking about it in our group chat and saying, you ban away the Brava, you make them think you're going to play a lot of Maestro and Echo, then you ban the IQ, you play loads of Valkyrie. Big game comes around, they're then forced to ban away the Valk because you haven't got an IQ to play. Then you ban the Twitch and play loads of Goyo, Maestro, Fenrir, and Malusi. Again, coming in with the game plan here on how to beat Virtus Pro. There is no way they haven't watched them play on this map or seen them play this map on scrims. I think it was G2 who said this when they took Virtus Pro to bank. It was Doki saying, you know, we haven't seen it on officials. We haven't played them on officials, but we played them like 50 times with this map in scrims. Like, everyone scrims everybody. You're going to see these maps even if they've already played them in officials, and it just looks like a very well thought out game plan by Falcons that, yes, it's very close to the wire, but at the end of the day, they're still up 3-1.
Continuing to prepare that top floor. Just looking for those lines of sight that they can open up. It is going to be the top floor that they can defend this time. So Pixel Corner is going to become much more of a focal point. At the minute, Lukapak is in there with the clash. He's got the shield rooted to the floor, so he is ready to take the fights. It should be reasonably easily dealt with by Virtus Pro. Just need to get a nade in there, but there is going to be a... Yes, what a beauty of a Nitro. One of the oldest tricks in the book. Yeah. Wait for them to come through the door and send it sailing up through the rafters. Beautiful stuff to open up, and that is a big loss with the Finker gone. That's some healing that will not be done.
No, and again, it's all about tripping them up as early as you can, but they've lost 2 players in the process. Maybe trying to get a bit too keen here. Solotov, past 2 AM, is definitely feeling that aggression, that early morning ranking hours. It's coming to life. It looked for a second they might have a little bit of stability, but I think by losing him now, again, all the onus goes back onto Virtus Pro. They've got 75 seconds to play with here. They've got the 4 versus 3. They are against the Clash, just one thing to respect. No C4s to worry about, making a 4v2. On for a second, but no! Lukapak finds him around the side of the shield, picks it back up, starts his march on forward. A 1v3 with the Clash, Tim. I don't think I've seen that.
No, I think it's unlikely from this point. He's just sort of threatening to root his shield down. He needs to choose exactly where he takes his battles, but the plant is going to start going down. It is going to be successful, and that puts him on a huge back foot now. Picks up that shield again and tries this little march forward, but Virtus Pro don't need to peek at this point. He's going to have to approach that diffuser. They know that. Might as well wait until he gets right up there, and then they can start bullying him as they do. Doesn't know Pasha's in behind the small bar, gets taken down, and that's going to be Virtus Pro getting themselves a second successful attack. Could be all they need, and they're going to go on to the defense in the next half. You feel like a 3-3 would suit Virtus Pro more than it does Falcons. So Falcons, important round coming up. They want to get round 6-1.
I do. I mean, it's now or never, really. Not in a bad spot. Again, with the way it stands, it really should be Virtus Pro considering the lead here. Like, the way they've played has been very, very smart. They've played this kind of like higher risk strategy. They've been very, very aggressive deliberately. And that is quite a difference to what we saw for parts of Consultate. We remarked on it at the time. Once the ban came through onto Orthodoxy, they were a lot more aggressive at that point. Here, they don't mind playing against that because they've tried to shape things up the way that they have done with those bans that we've already spoken about a hell of a lot. So, looking good so far. It is stripping Virtus Pro up. They get that 3-3. I think Falcons probably feel they could have got away with more, but I think regardless of the score from here on out, Virtus Pro are going to feel really hard done by because it has felt like a stronger half from them overall.
Final one coming up there.
5 seconds remaining.
Going to be on the bottom floor this time, all the way down there in kitchen. And last time around, Virtus Pro just a little bit slow when it came to this. It was round 3. Falcons were able to hold on. It did start off, if you remember, with the big spawn peak from Shaiko, taking down Joystick on the Nomad. So it opened up the flank for Falcons as well. They were able to get aggressive with Leak of Fact, moving up the red stairs later in the round. They're not going to have necessarily that same freedom this time around, as Joystick has survived up onto the roof. So we'll be able to get those air jabs deployed, make full use of that utility this time. Is that going to be the difference maker, though, for Virtus Pro? They need to get Always and Pasha into position. They lost them as well. They couldn't do the verticals last time. This time, they're going to force those defenders to move around. If they haven't, something's gone majorly wrong.
I'm more like amused, and it's not a problem, of course, but I'm more amused that it's Shepard playing on the fuse here, because normally it's always that has the duty of taking that one along, but clearly a bit of a rotation in what needs to be played by who've landed on this allocation of operators to the various players on the side of VP. About 2 minutes to go here, and they've got all their drone work done on the top floor, so I'm very sure very quickly they'll spot the Falcons are all on site here, and that needs to be their main point of contest. The Nomads should be able to get things locked down. There we go, first air jab coming out. Just to make sure there's no funny business coming out from Falcons. We've seen how much they've enjoyed roaming across this map at a few of the rounds in the previous one. I think making sure you've got that flank set up on the go is really, really important here, lest you get stung by Falcons players in the late round.
Yeah, Virtus Pro well ahead of time this time. Like I said, they were a little bit behind the pace before, and it caused them to be rushing and a man disadvantage later in the round. It was no good. This time, they have everything they need. They're already taking utility out. They still have the shield of Shepard to go in behind. They've got the verticals. They can start burning through these auto canisters as well before getting the hatch open. They will need to deal with Breeder in some fashion inside of VIP, but without a shield to play behind, it should be fairly straightforward for them.
Should, but it doesn't mean it will be, to miss the important part. We've seen them in many spots where they looked to have had control like this, and they've still managed to see things being thrown away. Admittedly, thanks to Falcons making some brilliant plays to capitalize and create some chaos. Asher in a good spot here on red. They've got 2 ready to look for the drop as well. They're playing on verticals. They've really got a lot of angles set up here to restrict and contest on towards these players on site itself. But Tim, I'm nervous. We're down to that last 30 seconds. And again, we're leaving it very last minute. Solitop taken down. A swing is there from Shaiko, ready to respond to the first kill. And they get the trade back.
Yeah, that's a big response from Shaiko. Nitro goes out from the tugger out. It is going to do a lot of damage to Shepard, but not enough. He may have an opportunity to get in behind that bomb chassis and put it down. There's not going to be any opportunity for Breeder to move in through Freezer. Always picks up users. It looks like it should be a successful Virtus Pro plant.
Cover me!
Another down coming. Leak of Fact picks up Shepard though, stops the diffuser going down.
Time!
They've won it on time again! Virtus Pro are losing this for themselves.
That one I'm not so mad about, because they were equal on player numbers, to be fair, coming into the last 10 seconds or so. So Falcons were very much just in that, as much as Virtus Pro were as well. But just again, one of those where they're running out to the clock here. And again, part of it comes down to the work being done by by Falcons. They were running around the map, giving them an awful lot to figure out. But I think Virtus Pro will look at this later and say, how on earth did we give them 4 of those rounds in that half? With how they attacked, it really should have been at least the inverse, a 4-2 to Virtus Pro. But well played by Falcons. Good team play off the back of it. And now they get to go on the attack and show us what they've been cooking. Another mute ban. Love it.
That's the big question now. That is the big question now. I said coming in, what have Falcons been preparing for? How are the attacks going to go? And this is where we start getting those answers. What are they going to play in behind? We're going to have Shaco on the Deimos. We know how lethal he can be. There's a lot of verticality here on Cafe. If we don't see pressure applied or kills gained from that Deimos, it's going to be a big loss of the utility that's been brought along. It's these sort of operators, the Blackbeard of Solotov as well, that they need to get the absolute max out of.
Do really got to squeak some special out of this one. Let's see how Falcons fare on the attacking side then. And of course, Vertus Pro managed to completely shut things down on their defensive side. But again, we've had those games of two halves in a way. This one feels like it's been a bit more of a battle where the attackers have looked stronger. It's just how the scoreline is shaped up that means we're speaking about it the way that we are. But Falcons, again, I'm pretty sure have got something pretty special cooked up for us. Attacking onto that first floor. Virtus Pro, as we've seen a million times over now, will start out defending on this top floor in a bid to try and waste time away from Falcons. We've seen things like Brede getting across onto walls like Blitz on the previous map to help them get a little bit of control. Solotov on the Blackbeard, also an excellent choice. They want that top floor because they've got things like the Ram on side, they've got the Capital. They want to make use of those vertical angles to get a plant down here. And that does mean taking the fight to Virtus Pro on the top floor.
Falcons need to pay attention to Joystick, who's currently playing downstairs in train. He's underneath, he's on the Valk, he's got a Nitro in hand. We all know what he's looking to do, and so do Falcons. They've got two options. They either avoid Piano and leave him out in the cold, or they go and get the kill. If they just push into Piano and leave him there, it's going to be a big problem. Pasha as well, just a little bit of a rat play here in behind that Cigar counter. There are two things there that Falcons could trip up on, and when we think back to their attacks on Consulate, clearing out important areas such as Piano on Consulate didn't go that well for them. I want to see them recognise Joystick's position, and I want to see them deal with it.
We'll find out to do shortly, Tim. Right now, Dan's very much dug in here. I mean, this is a bit of an old classic throwback. The Pixel Shield, ADS is scattered around, making it an absolute living hell for the attackers to try and force you out. It's where historically you see things like Zofia being brought along to help burn through that. A little bit of a different story now. Admittedly, of course, the A-grade ESs can do a lot of work. Now they're able to catch utility that wasn't able to previously. All that flexibility, the thrown distance, the redeployability of those magnets that now make the difference. Pasha hoping not to get himself droned out here. And there's a drone right in front of him, but looking in towards Bar. Doesn't they know that he's here and he could do a lot of damage? A nice try through the floor, but Joystick fades death for now.
I like that they've dealt with it, though. They're fully aware of the threat from Joystick. They've done a serious amount of damage. He's going to think twice before coming to get aggressive. But
okay.
I said that there was two threats for them, Joystick and Pasha. They've paid attention to one and completely took the eye out of the ball for the other. Pasha has just absolutely destroyed this attack. 3 kills, and now there is just Leaker back in Shaco. 2v3, it's doable, but even if they win, honestly, Des, it's going to be through more luck than management.
And they've dropped down all their smokes here, and then nothing has really happened. They're trying to backstab down Red, potentially. Fuse is in the wrong hands. Shaco's got to get himself down here on towards site. They've used this to be able to get themselves control of train. It's a great spot to get because you can of course challenge in towards both sites here, make it very, very difficult for the defenders, but they'll largely step out in towards Red Corridor, as you can see they have. They haven't got to worry too much. A fire to the back. I mean, you're never going to get away with that one, my son. Striker in a 1 versus 3. We know that he's more than capable. Starts out with 1. 15 seconds to go, and he's got to make it a 4K if he wants to win this round out.
Looks to move on into site. Could go for a plant here. Going to take out the FNAT. The challenge will likely come forward. You see the feet. Managed to get a spray down. It's going to be all that they need, in honesty. Shaco has to come off, go for the challenge. Shepard manages to pick up the final kill. And Falcons, honestly, have nobody to blame but themselves. It's one of the oldest hiding places in the books, Des. You know, everybody checks behind Cigar counter when you're drawn in top floor. They've failed to do so, and honestly, Pasha must not be able to believe his luck there. Pasha must not be able to believe his luck that he's led him behind there, got away with it, and got 3 kills on the back of it. Falcons, they need to sharpen up on the attack. They dealt well with Joystick. They knew that the pressure was going to be there from underneath when they went into Piano, but this just absolutely cut them apart.
I think it's the real painful thing of like a classic sort of, not a siege time moment, but it is a siege moment where there's a drone in front of him that's looking down through Bar. They've placed it there, not bothered to look towards the right. You see it all the time where they just don't check one corner or one spot and it pays them. It costs you an entire round. Sometimes it never quite works out. You just get killed randomly at some point anyway. But he's capitalized on it stupidly well there. And I think for Falcons, they'll be kicking themselves they didn't spot that one. Anyway, on to the next round. Downstairs we go into the kitchen. Imagine more of the same. Tim, we're getting that Raura pickup coming in from Leakyfac. I spoke about Raura an awful lot. Currently has the lowest operator win rate of any operator in the game across every team. Just, frankly, absolutely terrible. But a lot of that I put down to teams trying to figure things out on how to make best use of the Raura, the timing of it. I imagine there's still some out there that are still not quite sure 100% how the mechanics work, for example. So it will take a little bit of time, I think, for it to really build into the meta. And definitely one of those operators that we see slotting in towards certain sites when teams have got a strat, rather than being a generalist good operator that you can bring on the majority of sites.
Yeah, I mean, if we think about the Raura, which doors are you likely to use? There's two that I can think of particularly for a kitchen attack. That's going to be one onto VIP door to stop the player there that would normally be the Tubarao. I don't know exactly who that's going to be. I'm looking, it's likely to be Dan. He's on the Goyo. So you put one on this door in front of us, double door, to stop Dan being able to challenge on. If you get it at the right time, you're then going to know when he tries to make a challenge. To be honest, it's not perfect because he can just come around the corner of restaurants. So you could also Raura off the single door under the default cam as well. They've lost one, so now that limits their ability to do that. So already, Raura's ability to impact on this round is now pretty limited.
For now. We'll see what they've got in mind here. Might be isolating out the player that's inside. And sure enough, with the Glazon side, it's about trying to make him as safe as possible. In they step are going in for a push in towards here. They've got the Yokai drones coming over the top. Can't quite see the players. They've stepped away. And the nade, if nothing else, a friendly nade at that, keeps them at bay. And Joystick has just absolutely domed him. Nice idea, but it hasn't paid off.
Yeah, using the Raura on the double door at the bottom of red stairs just to try and create that space for the glass to go in. But like you said, just didn't get any value out of it as Solotov was taken down. Leakyfac manages to find always, though. 4 versus 4, and Falcons get themselves back into things a little bit at least. Smoke canister goes out just to prevent the push from bottom red, to prevent that pressure from mounting. But Virtus Pro have got themselves dug in. The Kiba barricades are going up. They've got their angles. They are now just holding Falcons back.
Well, maybe it's recoverable from the 4 versus 4 they're in. 60 seconds to play with. A lot of castle barricades still impeding them. Joystick gets a second. Now they start their march on forward. Yusu's going to be very much the front man here. And he's sprung right into danger, Tim. What's he doing? Didn't expect that one. Has given away another freebie to Joystick, who's on for an ace if this keeps up. 3 versus 2. Joko dropping down the last smoking pocket to block out that angle on towards Cope. As Brede tries his best, but the vertical is there. Shepard going to spoil the party. But either way, it's a VP round win. Again, nice try from Falcons, but Virtus.pro, they just had all the answers, and Yuzu certainly gave them a bit of a helping hand.
I think there was just too much reliance on kind of that Raura Solotov push. It was get the Raura on the doors, create the space for Solotov to walk in, and on the glass he'll get a couple of kills, and then we're in a position to put this diffuser down before they can get above, before they can use that vertical. And this is the problem when you don't take control of those verticals. It doesn't take much. It takes one player up on the bakery half roof, just open mining window, and you can pretty much keep a lot of mining and trains safe. Nobody's going to want to go in there and start opening up angles to try and fight on the verticals as a defender, because they know they're likely to get picked off. So Falcons just didn't do that, didn't give themselves enough of an opportunity to see that plan through, I don't think. And Virtus.pro, as soon as they recognised it was all bakery, they were more than happy, because then they can all just front it up. They're all guns point in the same direction. Shepard, get upstairs, get on those verticals, and Falcons were just picked apart one at a time. So Virtus.pro get their first 2 defences, and then move on to reading room. It's 4-4.
Alrighty, battle our way back in, and now Falcon's probably starting to worry a little bit. Tim, I don't know what the latest we've ever cast to is, but if this goes to 3 maps, and if it goes to overtime and this one the same on club, you could be here pretty damn late, my friend.
Mexico Major, Team 1
What time
replay.
were we casting till?
That was about 3
Oh,
AM.
that was pretty late, yeah, because they had the 7-2 against CAG and then straight into the replay to the side. That was a late one, yeah, I remember.
Changing back.
I don't think we'll be reaching those dizzying heights again.
Well, tech pauses haven't yet kicked in. But there is plenty of time still, Tim. There is plenty of damn time. By the way, Falcons, they need to get back to winning ways here. They're starting to fall behind. The momentum is with Vertus Pro. Maybe you're starting to see why teams don't really like taking them here, why it's always banned away against them. They're certainly coming with a good game plan, but as it stands, Falcons yet to find a way to punch on through and keep themselves ahead of the curve. Now all the focus is going on inside of Piano, and of course the standard entry that you're seeing towards this part of the map. You want top red control, you want Piano control. You want to find a way ideally to force out the Piano player, the Pixel player, sorry. In which case this will be Dan probably on the ward and sat in behind the shield. We'll be able to see through smokes and flashes that come his way. They've got to get rid of him at some point. And a common way you've seen them do it a couple of times so far through the game, both teams, is to round in towards Bar itself and start putting challenge in. But here they just walk forward with the shield and forced him back. Dan going to have to pull himself a little bit further away here. Now two players tucked inside a cocktail, and I imagine at some point they've got to drop through the hatch. Is it open? I think it is, but yeah, they're all good. They're down now. We're all good.
Yeah, they've got themselves escaped. They've backed up, but it does mean that Falcons have that top floor control now. The Deimos can start working. Two tracks still in pocket for Shaiko, and they could be deadly if he manages to scan the right operators. He will have an opportunity to challenge onto them, but Dan takes down Solotov. It's the Blackbeard, lost again. The shield not really having any impact in this round. And now, where does the tip of the spear come from? Where are you going to lead that push into sight? It's Brede that's carrying the diffuser, but it's likely to be on the back of Leakerfack and that Capito utility.
Sure, we've been here so many times before where it feels like they've got that good position they're in. Yes, you're down a man, but you've got a lot of utility still to chuck in here. Virtus Pro are going to do as you've seen them do so many times, though. Just be patient. Don't feel the need to go aggressive. Let Falcon step in. You've got three smokes you can still play behind as well. They've got all the time in the world here, Tim. And sure enough, first one was about to come out. That's the second time this game that we've seen a Falcons player go down with that Capital gadget in hand. Dan finding the angle. Brede getting the plant in here. A nice move coming in from Shepard, who gets a spray down onto one as we have 25 seconds left. Uses with it all to do it. A 1 versus 3. Pasha going to give him nothing. Another closeout for Virtus Pro, and now they're ahead for the first time this game.
Yeah, we saw it happen. We knew what was coming. Leakerfack was critical to getting that plant down. That Capito utility could have stopped the rotation. You get a fire arrow on it, could have smoked off the plant spot, but losing his life before Brede goes in. The call is made, still go for the plant, but it allows Shepard through to get involved and to stop that from happening. And this is going to continue being the case for Falcons. It feels like they are just off the pace here on Cafe, and Virtus Pro, we're seeing why it is so regularly banned against them.
Yeah. Could be the club is that big decider. A big map for both teams as well, to be fair. Be a really good way to end on who's going to be our winner. So now Falcons step into that tack timeout. As we saw, 3 rounds on the bouncers half. They have yet to get themselves a win. Here on the attacking side of things, they need to find a way on through. Or as said, that map 3 awaits, and I know it's late for us. I feel sorry for you. She's 2 hours ahead at this point, I believe. 2:30 for him. Oh, this is where you're really made and defined as a player, I feel. Your ability to still function when sleep deprived.
Certainly going to have to find a way to battle through, but it's looking pretty good for Virtus Pro at the minute. Tactical timeout comes in for Falcons. They recognise that something needs to change, but the question is what? Because right now we're seeing the mistakes creep in. Pasha being allowed from behind the desk, losing the Blackbeard and the Capito before you try to put the plant down inside a reading door. It's just all starting to mount up, and it is Virtus Pro that are the benefactors at the minute. But Virtus Pro are just looking really, really solid on the defense of Cafe. I'm not sure. The thing is, quite often we'll say, you know, a team is playing fantastically well. It's just a case of you've got to go in and win your gunfights against some Falcons. You've got to go and win your gunfights. That's not really the case here, I don't think. They've still got some of those fundamentals, some of those boxes that they're not ticking, like the redroning, like making sure that you've got the utility that you need for the execute before you go in. Make sure you've got the map control that you need. I don't feel like they're taking confident map control. They got the top floor last time, but didn't really massage any of the defenders away from that plant spot where they wanted to go in and execute. And I feel like there are elements there that they can improve on here, Falcons. It's not just about winning gunfights. They are costing themselves in other areas.
Sure. Well, hopefully this timeout fixes those other areas, Tim. Gunfights, you know, they're more than capable of winning. They've showed it a lot throughout the series. I mean, Brede and Leakerfack especially going strong in the map. Uses maybe a little bit less so. Rare on the other side, to be fair, to see Shepard being the one that's flying as high as he is. You know, normally you're speaking about Pasha, who's still doing Pasha things. Always had a great stage as well. Damn, we can talk about a lot. Shepard's often got that thankless task of being the guy that runs inside the site, holds down F, and doesn't really get the chance to get many kills. And you can see that a little bit today. He's been stuck in so many 1vx's, of course, pulling that one out earlier on. Certainly no complaints when he can play the way that he is today. See how things shape up here. At least starting things out again. A top 4 Rome, always the one with himself positioned up here. Joined by Pasha, who once again we're seeing this standard angle being held up. Pixel sitting behind a shield. ADS is normally scattered around, of course not available here. As you can see, those flashes rain on through. And it forces Pasha to scatter to the wind, just not going to hang around there or commit too much time to holding on to Pixel. And you never know what's following up off the back of those flashes.
Hopefully the droning has been a little bit more thorough there this time, up on that top floor, making sure that they're not going to have any surprises popping up from behind cigar counter or anywhere else. We've got the air jabs going out, so that's going to prevent any flanking. This is pretty good, actually, from Falcons. I want to be fair to them as well as criticising them. They've got in there, confidently taken map control, which is something that I've said, I don't feel like they've done over the last couple of rounds. They've got their air jabs out, they've got the utility working with those boogie drones going and getting the verticals opened up. It's been good stuff from them so far. The one problem they've got remaining is they haven't moved these Virtus Pro players up on the top floor. We've still got Always there in Cocktail on the Azami. He's now going to drop away. And we're also going to see Joystick downed and finished off by Shaco. This is better from Falcons.
Yeah, it's the nice thing about it, and you compare that back to, say, Consulate, it's the team play there to pinch onto one player and punish them for being out on the roam. Like, how dare you try and roam onto us? Leak it back onto a second as Pasha's the one to fall away. A rare appearance for Leak it back on the Deimos is worth stressing. Normally, of course, that's the go-to shy cooperator. I'm sure he's not feeling best pleased that his dearly beloved has been taken away from him. Instead, he's on the flank watch with the air jabs all being placed down around the map, but it's getting the results so far, a 5 versus 3. We saw Vertus Pro lose a 5 versus 2. Surely Falcons don't go down the same path. There we go, much better.
Yeah, managed just to take down Dan, just again being forced out of position by that Deimos track, and it's those kind of fundamentals that Falcons have done a lot better in that round. They've got confident control of top floor. They've pushed Always away. They've used their utility quickly to again take away those safe spots from the defenders inside a site, which included Joystick. There was somebody there ready to cut him off and get the kill. They were working as a team. And then you've got Shaiko downstairs causing a problem for the defenders that are inside a site where he's got a soft floor beneath them and he can challenge them. So Dan has to step out into the corridor, in towards Reading, and again there's somebody there waiting to take him down. Way better from Falcons. They level things up 5-5. This could be anybody's. It could be a 7th overtime in a row.
I mean, it would be pretty ludicrous if we managed to make every map tonight that way. At that point, I'll probably just be upset that we haven't made it 9 in a row and just made every single map playable, go all the way to OT. I feel like we're shortchanging ourselves by a single map at that point.
I'm quite happy that it won't have done. Considering that would add another hour and a half on to proceedings.
Granted.
10 seconds left.
But yeah, I'll take it. You know, if we see 8 maps and
5 seconds left before insertion.
8 overtime, like, you know, I can live with that. Down in kitchen there, Falcons last time just tried to push directly through Bakery. It did not work. Tried to rower the double door at bottom red stairs, send Glaz wandering into sight to find kills. Wasn't the play. I think this time, get yourself in above. They've got users on the sledge. They've got 3-day on the sense. So again, you can use those sense gadgets to screen off VIP. It's probably Dan that's going to be playing in VIP again on the Goyo. So just screen them off. Yeah, you can send in impact nades to clear them out. But you've got enough to deal with that. You've got 4 screens, so you can just keep putting them down and then get yourself into freezer after you've forced those defenders out by using sledge above. That's what I'm looking for from Falcons.
Imagine they'll get away with it as well. Of course, all eyes on the sends in this round as you touch it on, get the vertical control first, then look towards where that goes in. Circle coming out here to help them start moving their way through the map, and a good idea in this round, admittedly, with things like the bulletproofs on side, the yokai drones, lots of things there to worry about in terms of intel. That doc could be, of course, knocking you off those until you've got rid of the phone call. But no mute on side, it does mean you'll be able to find your way through that. They had to come off that. Guns not being up, get yourself in a safe spot, get the phone turned off, only to then be able to push on forwards. First track coming on through as Pasha takes a couple of shots there through the vertical. Tim versus Shaiko, and at that point it feels like 2 gods going head to head. Whatever happens, whoever comes out on top is going to destroy the world in the process, and it's Pasha to get rid of Shaiko, wins that reverse hunt, and it's a 5 versus 4 for Vertus Pro.
Yeah, they were both magnetised to that challenge, weren't they? They knew that each other were there, but it's Basher who comes away on top. But again, minute 30 mark, which is what we benchmark this on for getting that hammer swinging. They are doing the job here at Falcons. Having lost Shaiko, not ideal. You want those Deimos tracks, but they do still have everything they need for a plant here. They've got a Gorka Cole that can come in. They've got the sense gadgets that can screen off VIP. They can get the hatch open. They can get in and get that diffuser down. This is still doable for Falcons.
It is, but time, as we've seen, doesn't really play to either side's strength throughout this game. Down comes the Sense. More of a bait than anything else, I imagine, at that point. Creating a little bit of confusion, a bit of diversion. This one's more to cover off the VIP angle. But watch out, of course, for Dan just spraying down there crazily. He's got the impacts they can play behind as well. Still 2 impacts to play behind here. Can't deal with those light screens, as you're going to see now, so they can't safely drop their way in. They're almost there and ready to go, but while this constant impact spam is coming on through, there's not an awful lot they can do. Shepard, the one with the last ones left, and he's quite far away. A second kill comes on through for Vertus Pro here. Looks like they're holding on well. Eating up fire and flames as Solitov steps on down. Needs this man inside of VIP. Goes nice and close and gets in. Dan missing crucial shots. Tries his very best, but the recoil a little bit too much. Now with the smoke coming out, rounds off towards the side. One towards his left here. Has to win this gunfight. Down onto the deck he goes, and will find his man. A 3 versus 3, but there's no time left, Tim. They have to go now.
Yeah, Breeder's got to make a move to start putting that diffuser down. He will do exactly that. He's created the space. Solotov's gone huge this round, but it's going to be the Yokai. You got to pay attention to every single detail. I feel for Falcons there. I've been critical over a couple of their attacks, but they did so well there, unpicking that defense piece by piece by piece, and then just couldn't get it down at the last because they hadn't been able to take out the Yokai. That is a real shame for Falcons, but a great understanding from Virtus Pro of what the win condition was there.
We've seen that so many times though, right? When
especially at that side.
When you're being ran down, you've got environmentals to get through, you've got Goyo can. There's just so much to slow you down. You haven't really got time to actually set up for the sites itself and to make sure that's fully clear. Yeah, things like the Twitch that we saw banned away earlier on, of course that banned away in this half maybe would have helped out a little bit. But then you're still trying to play cat and mouse, trying to hunt them down and deal with them in the first place. Real hard ass to get away with here. Shame there was no phone call left on side, which could have helped them out, but with it we've seen many a time over the years, Shepard getting away with plays like that, denying it away, and Virtus Pro now are up to map point 6-5. And I think Shaiko might be right. Not sure if you're going to go to that third map. You might have no choice at this point. You've got to fight your way through this next round and then OT if you want to see it be a 2-0. Because I think truthfully, as much as the players like, oh, playing late sucks, we also know that those critical SI points are on the line. We spoke about it a lot today, and there is quite a difference in the SI points that you get for finishing in third place versus finishing in first. So you've really got to make it happen here.
Yeah, huge difference. First place overall will take 300 SI points. Second place will take 150. And then third, fourth and fifth will all take 50 each. So a minimum of 100 gained by getting into the grand final. It is big. Nitro gets shot out as Pasha tries to throw it up through the hatch there. Nice pick up by Falcons. Last thing they want is to be losing somebody early here. They want to desperately get themselves into overtime and close this out now if they can do. Not sure which side they're going to be starting on. I would imagine it's going to be Virtus Pro that would have chosen, and they're likely to have chosen the defense. So overtime is not going to look pretty for Falcons on the attack, but they've got to get around first if they want to get there. And start trying this march across the top floor with Solitov on the blackboard.
Yes, this a few times now that he's been the player clearing out Pixel, because we know how much Virtus Pro love playing in that spot. Dan's dug in a little bit deeper here as well, spraying it towards the feet. Who's going to win it out? Of course, it's Dan. That 1v1 not going the way the Falcons sorely needed it to. Into a 5 versus 3. Virtus Pro might be able to hold on here and get this one closed out. Because Users and Shaiko have got it all to do it. Simply not going to happen. Shaiko stuck in a 1 versus 4. And Tim, we won't see overtime, but it does look like we're going to see map 3.
Certainly does. Shaiko drops himself down to pillar. He's looking for anything he can get going at the minute. Does get spotted out on that default cam, so takes a couple of shots as well. Flawless round comes in for Virtus Pro. They're going to close it out. And as you say, they push us all the way into Clubhouse between these two. And they were, I think, the superior team on Cafe. It's based on it not being their map, it not being a map they like, or, you know, nobody should be winning it based on just being amazing at Clubhouse. You know, yeah, we've got good Clubhouse teams, we've got bad Clubhouse teams, but the gulf between them is much, much smaller. So let's see who comes out of this one at the best of these two. Falcons, Virtus Pro get into the bans. Falcons will take our attackers. It's going to be Monty. Virtus Pro take Kaid. We'll see if they double down on the Electro Bros and take Bandit as well, or whether there's an alternative comes in. No, it's going to be Azami instead. Makes sense. Maverick will go for Falcons. Interesting one. Obviously, it's going to leave Hibana and Ace. Both, at least one of them is going to make it through the whole 6 rounds. So should be fairly straightforward for Virtus Pro on the breaching.
Yeah, interesting one to be fair. I want to go back and look in a second actually what was banned by Virtus Pro last time they played in this map as well, because I mean what they played, sorry. Seeing that Maverick bank come out normally suggests you're going in towards obviously a target on towards Shepherd. But I can only imagine Virtus Pro play a lot more than a Maverick here very, very happily. In fact, it was also banned away against them last time against Team Secret. So Secret also acknowledging something that clearly Falcons have spotted. They do not want them to have Maverick, instead want to force them to have to work through hard breaches, a lot of Hibana, a lot of Ace, a lot of Thermite. Still, of course, walls can get opened up as you need to, but it would increase the efficacy of things like electrification. That's why you've got things here like the Bandit on side. Might not be a Kaid, so things like hatches will be exposed, but these walls will make it a little bit more tricky for those hard breaches.
Church and Arsenal will be our first site on Clubhouse. It's going to be down in the basement. Now, Falcons, it's an interesting one. If we look back historically to kind of, you know, the older BDS roster, and then as it became, you know, BDS still, but with Users and Solotov coming in, and they've always kind of been the same when it's come to roaming, and that's that they've not roamed very heavily. We've seen it a little bit more from them. I think, you know, once we've had the shift across the Balkans and maybe a little bit more aggressive on the play style with Users and Solotov coming in, they have had more of a presence around the map, but I'm fascinated to keep an eye on that. How much do they commit to it here on that top floor? At the minute, they've got Leakafak up there. Solotov was with him. He's now dropped away, and this is what I'm saying. 30 seconds of pressure, not even really any pressure, and we start seeing them fall away. They don't heavily commit to this roam, so Virtus Pro should have plenty of time in round 1.
Oops, had a crash come on through, so maybe a rehost in just a second. But I'm with you. I used to joke on this map all the time, well, all the time, but say back in the day, how do you know BDS are roaming on Clubhouse? Well, you'd see a lens out on the Valkyrie, and every other operator would be super dug in, super static. That's all you would get from them, essentially. These days, as you said, it's a bit different now, where you do get players up and around the map, like you're seeing from this. Like, not a thing you'd see of old school BDS, that's for sure. So over the years, you are seeing more aggression building into their playstyle. And despite their call for a rehost, well, they've absolutely stopped them out here as well. Dan's down to the last one left alive. Sorry, Shepherd is. And Solostov's found himself a 3K in round 1. Not a bad start.
Not a bad start at all if that's how it plays out. Shepherd is just going to go looking across the top here. He knows that he will find somebody. He will indeed. It's going to be Solotov, takes him down. And that is going to be that for Falcons. But, you know, yeah, as Fresh said, coming into this, attack is going to be such a big deal for this one. Mistakes are going to start happening. We've seen it across a couple of maps so far. You know, a lot of Siege has been played today, and teams are going to take advantage of that. But I think, you know, generally, mistakes on attack are probably going to be punished a little bit harder than the other time around.
You'd assume so. I'm so glad you spoke for a bit longer there. I've been trying to eat an apple during the break. I was like, I need a little bit of sugar to pick me up. Got a little tiny, like, what is it? Like, like mini Kinder bars in a way. That's cool. It says Kinder on it. That's absolutely no use to me right now. Banging chocolate though. And I thought, okay, I'm a bit healthy, get an apple as well. Just trying to juggle between when you speak and like tapping mute on the microphone. Scoff some more apple if I can, finish chewing it before you stop speaking, so I have to jump back in again. Managed it pretty well there, Tim. I'm quite proud of myself.
No, I mean, usually, if I'm going to get something to eat whilst I'm working, I tend to have something a little bit quieter, Des, and then you've just come steaming on in with an apple.
Yeah.
That's one of the noisiest foods that you could probably find.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, that's why you mute a microphone. You can eat anything you want then. You could smash around a bunch of like saucepans and pans if you really wanted to. You'll be fine.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Is that how you get your daughter up every single morning?
Yeah.
Wake up! Stop school! Let's go! Oh my God, stop.
Back in a pan, yeah.
That's what you do in your garden up. It's just you can run around doing that in a much more beautiful space. A bit outside the house and just absolutely wind up the entire neighborhood. What a dream.
Joystick going to be opening the blue stairs window immediately, and we can see Solotov's there. He's going to dip away now that the drone comes in. He played that position just hoping that maybe they don't drone. We saw Pasha get away with it on Cafe top floor, of course. This time it's not going to be the case. Virtus Pro are there and ready for it. We see the stun grenade going from the Sophia. That's telling them that there's somebody still there. It's going to be Solotov. It exploded immediately, but I think Solotov has now just dipped back, is inside of Arsenal, but look at this, 3 still on the top floor for Falcons. Solotov down in the bottom floor, so he's the only one that's out there to cause a nuisance of himself.
We've actually seen BP do this, so not just on Clubhouse, but I forget, what map was it they were on last week where they did this? Do you remember? I want to say it was it Nighthaven? Playing a bit of a jiggle here with Valkyrie. Neither finding the other, but I remember last week they got the Sophia on a map that you wouldn't normally see a Sophia and use it to do exactly this. Get inside nice and quick, blow up where you normally see a bandit trying to trick, and manage to get themselves inside the building incredibly quick. I'll have to go back and double check at some point, but making it look nice and simple there, like they've done it since today started playing. Oh wait, they probably have. What a shot from Solotov. Joystick, I think leaving a bit too much for himself out there. Happily picked up. So the Falcons starting out strong so far on Club. That's first round, of course, they had a flawless round. Started out well with an entry here as well. Sort of let BP have minimal control of it all so far, but bearing in mind, this is only the extension we're seeing here. This Cash CC side extension. The actual site is gym and bedroom. Still got to work their way through construction and start looking at the site itself.
That's the thing, Solotov held them up for 1 minute and 10 seconds there. He was just fighting and keeping the attention of Joseph, because he can't leave him there. He can't move away from it, because as soon as he goes, he's concerned that Solotov's going to follow him right up those stairs and be challenging on them from the flank. So great stuff from Solotov, especially picking up that kill at the end as well, taking away some great utility with the Sophia going. It leaves us now 5 versus 3 as Shaiko picks up always, and like we said, attacks are going to be coming at a premium here, and so far it looks like that's the case. Pasha manages to find Shaiko, 3 versus 4, starts pushing him through logistics, but the F9 will just hold him back, and the shotgun will hold him back even more.
Would have been monstrous if we managed to get rid of Usage there. Who walks away with a slither of HP. The bolt's coming over. Timing not looking the best. Shepard finds one, but a C4 is there for the response. And Shepard, yet again, I'm sick and tired of saying it at this point, Tim. I'm pretty sure it's the 7th time this series he's been left in a 1 versus 3. He's won one of them. I don't suspect he manages to win all of them. He's going to run out of time here, hunting down for an extra kill, but will not be able to find it. Falcons score 2-0.
Yep, good round from Falcons, able to lock that down comfortably. Virtus.pro really struggling to get themselves into this one, and you just look at it and think, is it going to run away from them quickly? We really do need, it's going to be that second half, isn't it? That's going to be the real telling factor, is going to be that second half, and how it just shakes down once these sides switch, whether Falcons are able to take this energy through onto the attack. Knowing how good they are on Clubhouse, I really would expect that they'll be able to. So Virtus.pro, it's essential that they get themselves, I think, at least 2 attacks.
With a little dance you often see between players like that. This kill here was the one that I was like, oh no, almost managed to get used. Look, a slither of HP. Thought it would have drastically changed the outcome of the round, but still would have been cool to see, because there's a few players on the Virtus Pro, on the Falcon side, that are all low HP, or at least are taking damage throughout the round. Just a sign of incomplete kills coming up from Virtus Pro. Could have been a very different outcome there if they managed to complete some of those, but that's sometimes just how the cookie crumbles. In we go to round 3. Now, imagine if we carry on at this pace, Tim, we'll see Virtus Pro aren't really a massive tack timeout team. They tend to leave it until quite late in the game, but when you've lost 3 rounds on the bounce, and quite convincingly so, that's the kind of time where I'd be saying that timeout feels about right.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think, you know, see what Falcons do on the defence here, and then, you know, really think about it. It was something Em was talking about last night, of course, was, you know, she's been noticing a lot of round 2 timeouts that are maybe sort of feeding into the banning phase, but Virtus.pro just wanting to hold on a little bit more. The Roteros are going to be sent in to clear out those castle barricades and just give a bit of access through main door. But Solotov so far, 5-1, definitely a lethal threat for Falcons at the minute. We saw that beautiful shot, the 1-tap onto Joystick last time around. This time it's going to be Joystick waiting to move on in once that castle barricade gets open. He's kind of waiting. He's like, I'm Rotero drone. I'm supposed to be going in through here, please.
Yeah, I'd like to make use of those impacts on the, you know, the bandit spots, so please can we clear it away? There we go. Didn't forget about him this time. Of course, there's no one downstairs looking to tag him, and I can see a couple of blue outlines in the distance, but none close enough to provide a real threat. His job, of course, here is to get him below and cause some bother, but they know about it. Tim looking to contest. I'll try and get a shot or two downwards, but they're not going to find their man. This one's going off, and they won't be able to strip it away at all. Well played by Joystick. Survives the challenge from the Bandit, and they get the wall open once again, though it has taken about half the round, Tim.
I was just going to pick up on that exact same point. The amount of time that's taken, we usually see that wall now being opened a lot quicker. Always is going to push forward and try to help them start to open things up on this catwalk. Shaiko's taken an awful lot of damage there. We've got Nitro in hand ready to go, but Shaiko is taken out. It's going to be up to Leakerfact to try and hold on to that catwalk position and just keep Falcons in the fight inside of Garage, but this is getting really tough now. They've got every angle held here as Virtus Pro. This really should be a round that they're able to pick up on attack.
Two really well-coordinated kills coming out of Virtus Pro. I mean, the one that you see into Catwalk, very standard. Never going to see Shaiko walking out of that one alive. You stay put and you die to the burn, or you move and you die to the glass. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that second one, coordinating the flash with that swing on towards the garage door, absolutely beautiful. The bash has now gone down for free because they're taking their eye off the ball. This has happened a few times throughout this series by Virtus Pro. Haven't droned themselves in properly, get caught out by these little moments, get sideswiped by players to get an awful lot on Consulate, for example. That's got to be mindful of, but I think with only 2 drones left in back pocket, they're kind of left here going off of old knowledge and what they once previously had. Only 2 left here for the side of Falcons as well, a 2 versus 4, almost making it a 2 versus 3 as Predate also goes low. The number of incomplete kills is absolutely ridiculous. Gets the down, but it's a 1v3. Another bullet will be enough to see him finished off here as the plant started going down. Not that it was required as Virtus Pro finally get themselves on the board.
Yeah, desperately needed that one. It just gives them something to build on. Like I say, if they can go 4-2 on the half, they start looking towards their defensive side and thinking we can at least match that. And I mean, you know, far be it from us to not have another overtime tonight. But yeah, Falcons, I think, could do with finding one of those third choice sites. In this case, it's likely to be CCTV again. They'll go through that same rotation, and if they can get that 5-1, then yeah, I think Falcons can get it done on the attack. But Virtus Pro, it's going to be no mean feat breaking them down on the defensive Clubhouse. You know, we know that they're a solid team here. That is a big step for them, getting that first one. We move into the second quarter now, if we want to look at it like that, and they are on trend for a 4-2 half.
I only just saw about Alamal's tweet from an hour ago saying, after watching this series, I'm 100% certain we are playing Secret tomorrow for the 3rd time. Let's go. Bearing in mind,
games early.
Absolutely. Given the time of night at which they're playing, you might cut them a little bit of slack. I get his point. Secret have been playing incredibly well. As we've seen, the only team they've lost to on this journey so far has been G2, and that was a really good series. It required overtime on that 3rd map to see who would walk away the winner on Lair. And I do think, based on what we've seen from these teams today, both against Matchko and Gen G earlier and a little bit throughout this series, you can see how 2 of our best attacking teams, them being Secret and G2, in fact, the only 2 teams in the region who've got a better attacking round win rate than they do defensive round win rate, you'd probably favour them to be the ones taking away the win against either of these teams tomorrow. But never know, maybe today inspires or enthuses the winner of this game and they go on to beat Secret, and we have that G2 versus VP or Falcons final. But I can understand Alamal's apprehension.
Time for them. We continue the rotation as expected. Going to be back down to the basement again. And again, I'm keeping a close eye on how committed to that roam they are. Again, it's Leakerfact on his own up on that top floor. Going to be very easy for Virtus Pro to clear out. It kind of feels like they're almost giving up a life here. It's such a gamble for Leakerfact to be picking up kills, especially when he knows that there's likely to be a shield running at him. If you've got a shield coming, it's easy to have that second person there just to try and play off, just to try and engage together and try and get that trade. Leakerfact really is out in the cold.
And now it's Joystick who's the main entry point for them to start his way in towards this bathroom side. Straight down main stairs, going to be the port of call, no surprises at all. And here we go, a little challenge on main stairs, nothing too surprising there. It's Leakerfact now to dart himself away back down towards site. Maybe not Leakerfact, sorry. Who was it that was below? I think it was Predate maybe stepping up. Solid. Now to back himself away, and here comes the vertical as well from below. Do they know that he's got here? You'd hope to God they've heard him. But he could be in a really great position right now. He's heard the shot, knows that he's above him. All he needs is to step in towards that doorway, and it's a freebie.
You kind of feel like Virtus Pro or Falcons. This after Pasha managed to get that triple kill on Cafe top floor from the mist drone in not being aware of the player in this position. It's going to be a freebie for Leakerfack, and that's it. Falcons just feel like they're cashing in that mistake from earlier. Leakerfack does take some damage. We've seen Falcons do this a number of times where he'll then retire himself away to Strip Club, and it forces the attackers to go in and deal with him, because otherwise he's just going to wait here until there's 20 seconds left and he's going to walk back out and cause you a massive headache on the flank. And right now, that's what's going to happen.
It's painful, really, because this Vertus Pro, you haven't got the time to go and clear out a strip player. It's a 2 or a 3. You've kind of got to keep on going and just hope to God that you've got a flank drone that catches him on his angle back in towards the rest of the team. And sure enough, here he's working his way in towards that Moto hatch. Assuming it's open, can of course drop himself through. But it's a threat that comes on towards Joystick that's going to be the main headache for them, I think. So close here and could do so much damage if not checked. There we go. One for himself. And at this point, he's got Joystick chasing after him. Not that he'll worry too much. Another impact comes out. And he gets the kill too. A triple kill for himself. Shepard might get one back. But yet again, Tim, Shepard is left in a 1vX. I'm sick and tired of saying it now.
There's been so many times tonight, like you say, that he's been in these clutch positions, and it's just the nature of Shepard's role in the team, playing that support. He is going to be in the back line, drawn in, hard breaching. He's going to be last alive, reasonably easily mopped up there by Falcons, but Leakerfack played that beautifully. I voiced that concern for him at the beginning of the round. He's up on top floor. Who's going to work with him? He's got to try and get this challenge. He dropped away at a nice time, gets himself a kill, and he just shows that strategy again of moving off to strip, keeping himself out of in that position, and then moving back in for kills later in the round. It's brilliant stuff, and I haven't seen anybody really come up with a major answer to it yet. Really, you've been hit already, and then you've got to spend time going to try and find him and deal with him, and teams just can't commit that much resource to it and tend to continue pushing towards site.
That's it. It's again one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't moments, right? Like, you can chase him down when you've got a minute left on the clock, but by the time you've got a kill, you have no idea what's going on site. But other defenders could have moved around. It's like the perfect disruption to find in the mid-round on a map like this, where you can disappear into the dark corners and do damage as things progress forward. Either way, one thing sounds true. Virtus Pro kind of lacking the teeth that we saw back on Cafe. They were by far and away the most dominant team there. And I think as we saw the guys say on the desk, we're at a point now where for a lot of these players, it's at least 2:15 in the morning, if not a little bit later. We're at a stage where they are going to be tired. They've already played a best of 3 earlier today. We're at a point now where most of them will be in bed and asleep, so it is going to be impacting on the gameplay a little bit. Don't be 100% shocked if you see the same lethargic nature capture Virtus Pro, Falcons when they switch onto the attacking side, and Virtus Pro end up on the defense. We've already seen back in map 1, they really are too hard for the game of Siege.
Just looking for that long angle through the drone hole here. I think VP really desperate to get themselves a good start into this round. It's going to be the sweep across from CCTV and Cash, and then moving on to Gym and Bedroom. They didn't really make too much progress with this last time around. When they tried to attack this site, they got hit hard by Solotov again at the beginning of the round. He picked up a really, really good kill down in basement. It was the one tap onto Joystick.
What a shot.
It was the one tap onto always. Solotov, just as I'm saying that he did it last time, Solotov comes out and does it again. He's really on a tear so far this game, 8-2, and Virtus Pro again on the back foot. They've lost their IQ. Those black eye cameras are likely to stay out and about.
Yes, not super ideal, but you'll see at least the ones that are still standing feeding that information through the team through the rest of this round. Because that reminder, again, all this action is happening out towards the Cash and CC side, and Falcons, they've done the work. They've got the kill they need. They've wasted about half the round. Only now we're seeing Virtus Pro stepping in towards destruction. They'll feel pretty happy with the progress, and now they can dig themselves back and again tighten that line and look to play for trades on site itself, as we keep on seeing more of that time being quite literally burnt away by these Vulcan canisters.
Yeah, exactly that. Virtus Pro getting themselves onto the windows, then they can at least be confident in that, get the claymores down and start to force those defenders to think about their movement inside. Can't move out of bathroom, can't move out of logistics, need to be very careful in and around master bed. Pasha looking like he might just hop his way into construction to join Joystick in there. 55 seconds left to go. Virtus Pro could do with picking up a couple of kills here, so they start to build that advantage that's going to create a little bit of space. But look at what Falcons are doing. They're just holding themselves in that back line, around the elbow, around main stairs, in logistics, making it difficult, saying to Virtus Pro, you're going to have to come on it.
Right, Readers is one inside the garage. They've kind of got to hit the site now if they want to go, but they're already down to a 3 versus 5. They get one back on their side, and they've got control of Jim, but need a bit more than that. A mirror window still to contend with. Saying that, they take over one for themselves here. A good spot to be in, but all the numbers are still falling away. With Dan going down here, it feels like they haven't quite got the numbers they need to be able to hold on to this one. A little bit more fire damage comes on through, and Pasha's the one with the diffuser, but he's in the wrong spot here, Tim. Got to win this gunfight, can't quite find it. A great swing, gets a trade at the very least, but Shepard, yet again, I'm not even going to say the line this time. He's not going to be able to win it, Tim. It's going to be a closeout for Falcons. They get the round over the line.
Yeah, this is going to be a key round coming up now. As I said, Falcons, a 5-1 would be absolutely ideal for them at this point to put them on that, opportunity on the attack to just need to find 2. We've said throughout, Fresh said it before we came in, this game is likely to be won on the attacks. Whichever team can get them secured will be the one that takes the position in the next matchup against Team Secret. And if Virtus Pro can hold on to a 4-2, they will look at that and think overtime is possible here. We can get ourselves 4 defenses, we can get ourselves through to those extra rounds, and who knows what happens then. So I think, yeah, taking this successful defense of CCTV cash would be absolutely huge for Falcons in the terms of the trajectory of this game.
As you kind of said, it's a bit of an if, though, if you can get that one over the line. It's one of the harder sites to clear your way through because it's that immediate proximity to the external. It only really requires you to get the main breach opened up and then either construction control or garage control. And we saw how excellently they managed to get control of garage last time around. No reason why they can't look to try and do so again. But it's still Falcons that are quite clear in the lead at this point. Again, 2 halves to a game of Siege. Don't count them out yet. It'll be a very different story once Falcons get onto the attacking side. But for now, we've got one more round at the very least to get through. See how things work out. That Capital on site to meet him, screaming that they want that garage Capital take.
Yeah, exactly that. Virtus Pro are going to try to do largely the same as they did last time, and that is force the players out of catwalk, take control of garage, get the main breach open, little bit of presence underneath, which they did well last time, and that's going to give them an opportunity. They didn't need to plant, they managed to get the kills, but it's going to give them the opportunity and the space for Shepard to go in and put that diffuser down. Falcons, what can they do to counteract that? First things first, they need to keep hold of that catwalk. They've got the Jaeger this time. Maybe it makes it a little bit more possible. They also need to keep that presence underneath. Don't give up lounge. Don't give them that verticality that they were able to use. We can see drones just being thrown in and summarily taken out.
At this point, they know the solitude's there. It's the one tap that you want to see. Well, at least this way, Shepard can't be stuck in a 1 versus 3 anymore. Tries to get out to safety, but Dan is there ready to punish on the cross. The trade is on through. Admittedly, the work has already been done by Shepard. It's not the end of the world, but losing always, well, that's pretty painful because now the shield is gone and Shaiko is still in position here. I don't think he realized he was letting a man get all the way through there.
I'm going to say, look, we're slow on his reactions there for Shaiko.
Look, hey, it's half past 2, granted.
It's a hell of a criticism when the guy was there for about a quarter of a second. It's more a compliment as to the fact that Shaiko would normally have at least hit that person. But as you say, it's a tough one. He does manage to catch him this time. Joystick taking a little bit of damage. Pasha putting in that fire arrow as well. Yes. Shaiko just keeping himself in this position, but ultimately cut down from the breach. And Vertus Pro, they might have something here, Des.
Bloody Pasha, Ray. Just when everything has gone right there, Shaiko did not need to step up and peek. Steps up to peek and dies. Then Pasha swings in, expecting a player in lounge, and he is spot on. There is a player there, gets a second. What should have been now very comfortably a 4 versus 1 for Falcons is instead a 2 versus 2.
But look at the health on the side of Virtus Pro. That is the big problem that they face right now. There's no nitros. Users manages to just get that peek around the corner. Health doesn't matter as he finds a headshot. Pasha working his way in. He's going to get absolutely nothing. Breeder with the kill. Falcons locked down a 5-1 half. And that is exactly the start they wanted. And again, all built on the back of a Solitov one tap. 3rd time on this map.
Yeah, 5-1 half, yeah. But we were exactly the same scoreline earlier on back
into
on
overtime,
Consulate.
Des.
Talk us into overtime, let's do it. Again, at this point, I'd rather it not, because I just feel heartbroken then that only one map tonight wasn't OT. Obviously, we had 12 rounds on the previous. It's either got to go, they've got to give us everything or don't give us anything at all. Don't tease us. I'll tell you what, Tim, my cats are going absolutely mental. Like, it's 1:30. One's meowing the house down. The other one is dying on starting a fight. So it's been very interesting watching them just zoom past my door.
With you or with the other cat?
With the other cat. They wouldn't fight me. I'd win. They're dead soft, to be fair. Because they're ragdolls, like you pick them up and they just go completely floppy. They never bite. They don't scratch. They're dead lovely. Just can't send them outdoors because they're too stupid.
My daughter was asking about their names the other day. I could remember Luna, but I couldn't remember the other one.
Well, it's a good thing you got that name wrong in the first place then, isn't it?
Did I? Is it not? You don't have one called Luna? I thought
No, it's not Luna. It's not Luna.
Oh, right. Well, I completely
It's a different
messed it
letter
up.
at the start.
I just lied to her then.
You did, outright. How dare you? What kind of parent lies to the child, hey?
Imagine.
Next you're telling me Santa ain't real.
I mean, you didn't
Shit,
didn't even call spoilers there, Des. Good heavens.
Pray she ain't watching, eh?
10
I
seconds
can
remaining.
assure you, she's fast asleep.
Reload! I guess she knows by now that Santa's not real, right? Or does she not?
I can't believe you're getting into this discussion, Des. This is...
Come on, I'm curious.
No, she does. No, we haven't had that discussion.
Okay, that's her. Still a bit magical for now, then.
Yeah.
And then soon enough, you'll be the crusher of dreams.
Yeah.
That makes you feel good. But no, it's Yuna with a Y, and Snow is the other one.
Oh, okay. I'll tell her tomorrow. She'll be happy.
Then you've got to try and figure out which one's which. That seems to be everyone else's problem.
Keep us strikes.
Bit of back coming in onto Gunner, joystick track on him as well. Of course, Choco and joystick, a battle for the ages, one that we've seen many times over the years. But now more like ships in the night, just passing each other by. No fight coming off the back of it as that track expires. Vertus Pro with a triple stack around main stairs, but now looking to be aggressive. Juicy starts to work his way forwards. Call now available to him, but I think he suspects there could be aggression brewing. He gets himself away to safety outside the building. And a few forgotten about reinforcements here on that. I was about to say church wall. Still soft. What's going on here?
Maybe just trying to give themselves a little bit of flexibility later into the round to mix things up, open things up, give themselves a unexpected rotate, or we'll see how it plays out. Falcons have actually got themselves forward quite aggressively here. Breeder is all the way down to the bottom of dirt tunnel, looking to get that barricade open and challenge on towards boxes. Look at that, Leaker up above, and Virtus Pro not paying the respect to the angles that have been opened up by those boogie drones.
No, and this is always a good sign for Falcons to be in the lead at this point. Still got a track, still got 2 Dockerby phone calls to play with. In fact, it's quite rare that we have both available this late in the round for them. Definitely going to be holding on to one for the execute. Maybe it's a case of burning through some more of those jammers before they make a go of it. But it's looking pretty good for Falcons here as long as they play this out sensibly. And I say sensibly because we know that there's been some funny antics in this game so far. They should be able to get it over the line, but we'll see. 3 players from Virtus Pro scattered around Blue and Church. One alone in that back corner of Arsenal. Holding up close his joystick, steps out and finds Solotov. Finish him off on the ground. A 4 versus 4. No pressure now coming in from Oil. That'll give a little bit of security to these Virtus Pro players to deal with the other directions of challenge.
Yeah, big kill that. You've still got Breeder challenging from... He's actually moved away, I was going to say, from dirt, but he's moved himself into kitchen. They do have a good ping on one of the players, though. Just trying to find those feet. They will. Absolutely beautiful stuff from users. That is just squeezing every millimetre out of the angle that they can.
That was used to leak about together as well, so actually waited there. A classic 3-2-1, open fire. We've all been there before. Down with another one, though, and every single time it feels like Falcons take a step forward, they're pushed 2 steps back. Leakerback and Breeder, 15 seconds to go. Probably aren't going to be able to get away with this one. For now, temporary cover, but they know exactly what's coming from in behind the box. It's a great read, but Joystick finds him first, and Virtus Pro shut things down there and get themselves on the board. 5-2 to Falcons.
Yeah, I don't think Falcons are going to mind that one too much. You never really expect as attackers to be winning that basement site. We talk about it so often as being one of the best defensive sites in all of Siege, realistically. You know, we expect teams to have really, really solid defenses down there. Falcons did a really good job for a lot of that, of breaking it down and giving themselves an opportunity, but Virtus.pro had the answers. Falcons, they're definitely going to be looking more towards these two top floor sites that we're going to see. I'm not sure which order we'll see them in. I think it'll be gym and bedroom first, and then it will be CCTV and cash, but that is where Falcons are going to be looking to pick up those wins that they need. 2 rounds will get this done for them.
Activating jammer.
We are also desperately in a fever dream right now, aren't we?
Of course, I'm just looking at the entry. I'm just looking at the entry kills. 6 out of 7 have gone to Falcons at this point. Virtus.pro just cannot buy an entry.
Barrier deployed.
They cannot. Or a nap, apparently. Or a bed.
That'll come soon enough, Des.
I'm just going straight there when this game is done. As I'm sure our production team are as well. Big shout out to those guys in Copenhagen. An hour ahead of us. It's 2:30 in the morning for them. Still here, still putting on the show. Not too far off done now, my friends. Round 8 underway then to see if Falcons can get themselves an attacking around the board and keep on pressing on forwards, or if Vertus Pro starting a magical comeback in the same fashion that we saw on Consulate not all too long ago. Yeah, it feels like a good while ago now, but it actually wasn't all that bad.
Nice and quiet.
Big Fat resigned to doing art here on the soft wall, getting himself going, and Brede doing exactly the same over here with the Maverick. Of course, saw this band away back in that first half. Not taken away from Falcons, available to them to get up nice and close, and regardless of any jamming or electrification brought along, they can still get through these walls.
Big Fact just trying to send a death mark in as well. I think it was probably towards Dan. He was the only one showing us standing in a mute jammer at that time, and we saw it flash up on our screen that it failed. I don't think the work has been done by the Vendetta either to make that passable to get into dirt, so maybe a little bit more is needed there. Everything just stalling out a little bit for Falcons at the minute. Brede's come off the attempt to get this wall open. They just kind of sitting and waiting.
It's a 30-second power nap. It's all right. It's all good. We've got time. There's 3 minutes in a round. Loads to play with. Nickelback starting his move up here as well. Has now finally got himself in from below. Let's see, a nade at the top red, certainly one thing. Needs to try and force away that clash of Pasha. Taking no damage from those nades, but has got to start a march on soon. Think he's going to be able to do much against this clash of the painful part. Pasha's down. Oh, shield away. Of course he is. Steps out and gets for a leaky pack. That's the threat onto him now gone. An edge up coming on through, so he's definitely under a little bit of threat here. Needs to keep himself moving away as Falcons now own and control this part of the map. Half a round gone. They've got to kill. It's an exact mirror about what we were saying about Falcons earlier on, and Shaiko gets rid of Pasha eventually. Beautiful.
Using that environmental ingredient. It was the pipe as he moved across. Brilliant stuff. You need to get rid of that shield, and you've done it. Joystick is low health as well, so Falcons kind of turned things around as Pasha had done some great work there. I thought Virtus.pro was seriously on the front foot, but Falcons have got themselves into a position. Brede is trying to just use the angles under that breach to get any sort of view that he can. We've got pressure coming in from construction. This is doable for Falcons, but they need to get themselves a couple of kills.
Nothing coming out of that one. Shaiko, uncharacteristic miss on that gunfight. Dan now is taking him away for free. Spray down to the window, almost finding the second. Brede comes on top, gets one more, but isn't aware about Dan in behind the desk. Collects his own freebie. Virtus.pro still in the lead here with 20 seconds to play. Falcons have to make something happen. Stepping on forward to look for one, but Solotov again, uncharacteristically. A couple of shots being missed as always. Stays standing. Aggressive rounding comes in as Uses goes nuts with that secondary. He's got to find one more. Pre-firing, gets the down. They've got the man advantage. They must know that he's inside of Logi. This is their chance to get a win, but no diffuser in hand. Will they be able to recover it in time? I'm not 100% sure they can. They're chasing him down, but he's hidden himself away. And Virtus.pro still get the round over the line. Falcons going to be kicking themselves for that one.
Yeah, it just goes to show the small margins that rounds can be lost. Simply not having the case in hand was all it took. It was likely that there just wasn't an opportunity to collect it. It had been downed at some point, and they just had to push and run for that kill. And Virtus.pro have got away with one there because he escapes into construction, through into cash, and there was a player on that construction door. It was so close, but he'd gone chasing for the kill. And it just didn't line up for Falcons in the end. And, you know, what an effort from Usus at the end there as well. You know, brilliant stuff from him to take the initiative there and push through, get aggressive. This kill particularly, picking up the prone player. Diffuser up on the roof. And it was just their undoing in the end.
I did wonder where it was. I was like, did it go down inside the site? But it would make sense because it was when Brede got the kill onto the secret player and then Dan was behind the desk, unknown to Brede. And I think we've all seen that a few times where players have just died. With spawn peaks on, for example, everyone's forgot about the diffuser, gone about the round, and we're like,
5 seconds left before
just when it
insertion.
feels like we should be able to get the win over the line. Doesn't happen. Happens to the best of us.
Attackers are heading out
Onwards
to
we
the
step.
bomb.
And this time around, Vertus Pro making sure to blow up that environmental, Tim. So we'll not be killing Pasha this time around.
Yep, fully set up here, Virtus Pro. The question is, can they defend this side better than Falcons were able to? Because that is essentially what it's going to come down to. Falcons were able to get one successful defense here. So Virtus Pro are going to need to match that at least if they want to be able to get this one over the line or even to overtime. Right now, they've had 2 successful defenses back to back, and getting this one locked out on CCTV cache would send a huge message, because then it means that Falcons have to find, the next time they get here on the attack, a successful outcome.
Goes Brede again on the Maverick. Focus on getting the wall opened up first and foremost. Should fall away any second now. Already got a lot of it shot out and dealt with. Probably more just mindful about what can be going on behind them. Or behind the wall, sorry. Open it up. Last thing you want is the player to be stood there with an angle held onto you while you're stood there with a blue torch, completely unable to defend yourself, and you lose your life for free. A lot of work being done. Now, still not being taken away. They need this done soon because, again, this is all valuable time and they can't even finish getting it open. Absolute heartbreak for Joystick. Sick and tired of watching him struggle with that wall. Was like, you know what? Sounds like a free kill to me. Or even some questions asked on where the cover was from his teammates. He focused on that wall because now that main breach is not getting open, and that is a killer for this site.
Now, I've spoken about this before, and, you know, the efficiency of your Maverick in opening those walls with the blowtorch when they need to, and it's something that we've actually seen Falcons struggle with before. If you remember, at Reload, in Rio Des, they had all of the hard breach banned against them, and we saw them time after time struggle to get those reinforcements open. It's a problem that hasn't been solved, and it has come back to bite them again. Pasha manages to take down Shaiko. Solotov is low health as well after being peppered with bullets from inside a garage. It looks like it's another round that's going to Vertus Pro, and the fight back continues.
Oh, first and last game of the series, really proving that point about 2 halves to a game of CJ. And it looks like an unofficial timeout being taken, and uses hands off keyboard and mouse. Conversation between the team. They'll just run that clock down here and take the time to have a conversation, because they know if it carries on at this pace, it's only going one way. It's going towards OT. And at that point, you really are rolling the dice on who gets to have that showdown against Secret tomorrow.
There we go. Always is going to close out that flawless round for Virtus Pro. And coming into this on a 5-1 half, you look at it and think, Falcons only need 2 attacks here. This is definitely doable. But now we've had an entire rotation, and the feeling, for me at least, is starting to shift, Des. I'm starting to look at this and think, well, if they continue to struggle to open walls like that, I'd definitely ban another hard breach here if I was Virtus Pro. They're going to take Usus' Grim away, a bit of a target ban there. Not a bad thing, but, you know, I'm looking at that and thinking, maybe Virtus Pro can go 6-0 in this half.
I mean, maybe, yeah. It's hard because, like I said during that round as well, like there were a couple of uncharacteristic gunfights coming out from Falcons, like shots that you wouldn't normally see them miss, or incomplete kills that they wouldn't get away with. Look, we're going to see mistakes even from the best players in the world at this time of night, 100%. But those are the things that are now starting to lean to the outcome of these rounds. And as Fresh was saying on the desk, when you're tired, it tends to be that attacking side that's going to fall down, because it requires being quite sharp as a team. Everything's got to be like done to the beat of a drum. Wow, that was a weird one to say. It's all got to be done in perfect sequence and as a unit. And if you can't quite be there, as we saw from Brede getting ran out on by a joystick and there was no cover from the rappel for him, just little things like that start to slip you by. The mistakes really start to compound, and it makes you really have to fight for every single round that you want to get over the line. That one round that Virtus Pro won back in round 3 might just prove to be the difference maker.
I mean, we knew it would come down to the attacks, but would we really have thought at any point that we would be scrapping over one attack? You know, that is literally what we could come down to here. The other thing that's happened for Virtus Pro in the last couple of rounds, if you remember, I said in the first 7 they'd only picked up 1 entry kill. There was 6 had gone to Falcons. Well, round 8, round 9, Pasha, Joystick have got 1 apiece. They have got the entry in both rounds and been able to go on and convert it. So again, something that they just need to continue here, if at all possible. Stay on top of Falcons, put them in a fight. I look at this now and I think Virtus Pro are now moving to their 2 best sites. They've got basement and they've got gym and bedroom to come. That puts them on 6-5 and sends a huge message to Falcons that it's all on the table in that last round on CCTV and Cash.
You know what I will say that's really heartbreaking is I watched last round play out on our stream. There's of course a delay by about a round or so. Users has been sat watching that doorway the whole time that Breeday's been on the wall. He pulls off for a second to get on a drone, and that is when Joystick runs out. It's like the perfect siege timing moment, like to a T.
Changing mags.
This is what happens.
They were doing the right thing. They just got caught by unlucky timing, I guess.
Exactly that. This is what happens. We can see Falcons have gone in quickly and aggressively here. We saw users dropping the logistics hatch, getting into that top floor. Looking, he's going to have always Asher and Joystick to contend with. There is 3 of them up there on the top floor for this extended roam. I'm a little bit surprised with Blitz on side and Dorkaby that Falcons haven't maybe just gone for a rush directly towards site, but instead they are going to play into these extended roamers.
Yeah, Solitas the one starting a charge on forward, and right idea. Still got the reaction times, even at 3:30 in the morning. He's still cooking good, Tim. Joystick to fall down. Falcons, once again, with a man advantage here, have now got to capitalize. And this guy looks dead to rights. Nothing Pasha can do except just keel over and die as Users finds yet another 4 versus 3. No Dockerby on side as Leakerback has been taken down, but have still got a trap they can make use of. And look at that, Tim. Choco has now got his eyes on Always, who's run out towards Strip, and he is very much stuck out there.
Yeah, he's gone with the Leaker Fact play, and of course it works both ways. It has worked fantastically for Falcons when they've used it, but equally you can get stuck out there because there's only one doorway to come back from, and Falcons have got him pinched here. The question is, do they go in and look for that kill, or do they wait for him to move and just take him out as he does? They have the choice, but they don't have forever to make it. The trap comes on in, they're going to go for the kill here. They know he's in behind the sofa. Solitov manages to pick him up. 4 versus 2. Falcons looking confident at a bottom floor attack.
Really good and decisive as well for them to just say, right, no, 2 or 3 players, we commit towards getting rid of this guy now, because back in the first half, Virtus Pro didn't make that decision. They couldn't afford to chase him down with how much time they had left, and this looks like a very different Falcon side here in round 10. Shaiko especially on point as they've chewed their way through these Virtus Pro players. Shepard is left in a 1v4, and surely, Tim, surely this isn't the one that he walks away the winner of, gets blinded out, scattering himself away. But where's the player to swing off the back of that shield? Very, very close and nearby. And there he is. Breeday to close out. They move up to map and series points. Well, Virtus Pro have got to win 2 back-to-back to send us to overtime.
Corralled into a corner by Users on the blitz and then closed out by Breeday. Users has had the Grim taken away. It was a target ban from Virtus Pro, but have they just unleashed a new kind of beast here, Des? He's moved on to the blitz and caused an absolute nightmare both for Shepard and Pasha in that one. Maybe, just maybe, they'd have been better off leaving him where he was, but Falcons, like you say, get themselves onto 6, get themselves at least guaranteed overtime, but also 2 bites at the cherry here to be able to take this one in regulation. The problem that they face is that Virtus Pro, after this tactical timeout, can go to any site essentially, so they don't need to go to CCTV and Cash anymore. This could come down to defending Church and Gym and Bedroom again.
Will do. Back timeout drowning out for Virtus Pro here. I said earlier on, they only really tend to take it later into the game, and you're seeing that here when all the chips are on the table, Tim. No more second chances. They've got to get 2 rounds in a row to get this one to OT. And given how they played most of this half, I'm not gonna go against them and say they can't do it. I think they're very much so perfectly capable of doing just that. But if Falcons attack like this again, with how clinical and precise they were, I don't see a world where Virtus Pro managed to get it done. I think it could just be a 7-4 here and now.
You could be right. I think you could be right. I think a lot of it could come down to hard breaching. Glad to see that Falcons aren't relying on the Maverick. Don't want to waver the point, but yes, there is changes that could come through, but we've got the Ace and the Ivana in the lineup, so it should mean that they can just power through it quickly, get it done. There's no bandit on the side of Virtus Pro. There's only the mute there for denial. Should be easily dealt with. The question is, for Falcons, do they do enough breaching? We've seen the bottom of the Jacuzzi wall opened up. They need to get that wall open. We see it so often where teams don't get it opened up for whatever reason, and it causes problems. Get it opened up. Get CCTV wall opened up. Get into construction. Get established on both sides of them. That's how Falcons are going to win this.
Well, let's see how things play out. They've got all the tools to the job, the double hard breach to make sure they can definitely get through walls. The Dockerby and the Deimos that we know they love oh so much, and uses on the Ying for the execute. No warden on that other side does mean you're going to see, assuming of course it stays alive late enough in the round to make use of those candelas and smokes, they're going to be extremely powerful and hard to play against outside of maybe a bulletproof camera being able to do a bit of work. But as long as they're holding on to those Dockerby calls, as we've seen them do previously, of course, that's momentarily unavailable to be used anyway. So all the right tools in hand. Now it turns towards Virtus Pro to be the ones to disrupt, upset, pick apart this attacking lineup before they can get anywhere near the site itself.
They are going, it looks like, for the tricky Hibana breach instead of just going for a clean breach. They're going to take the bottom, take the top, and try to clear off the entire reinforcement. We've seen this go wrong plenty of times before. Not this time, though. 3-Day manages to get it done, so they can now open that up at their leisure if they want to. They can just spray through the soft wall and clear it out. They're also going to give themselves the angle onto main stairs as well. So job done on Jacuzzi wall. They've got a clash to deal with yet. It's going to go in. Utility's going to go in. Falcons looking good here.
It's just thinking Fat's got up, but arguably at the wrong side here. I didn't think he realised that the Clash had already got the crossover. Not quite sure what he was looking for, but we'll forgive him at this point. Call comes on through to force them back that little bit further into this 5 versus 4. If they're going to win out any time, Tim, it's probably going to be now.
Leakerfy just misses his opportunity, as you say. He sort of went running right into the breach there and then realised that they had gone too far. Shepard makes the challenge, does take Leakerfy down. That's going to be the Dockerby gone. 4 versus 4 versus Pro fighting back. A minute left to go. They need to deal with this clash. That's going to be the big sticking point for Falcons. 55 seconds. Can't get themselves into Jim yet. The track does show that there's one just around the corner, but he's not going to peek that. We hear the candles coming in and the kills on the back of it, Des.
Great drop from Brilliant towards that gym window, finds him out and shoots him in the back. Down to just 2 left on their feet. Always in Joystick, got all the fighting in the world to do to hold on as they get at least one more back. Shepard's still down though. The jump out comes on through, but Utis is just ready. Joystick, fight as he might, has got it to do against 3 players on this Falcon side with the diffuser going down. This one, unfortunately, is looking a bit lost. Gets the cross and gets the diffuser. Gonna drop himself away and keeps it going. 15 seconds to play with here, and surely they managed to get away with this. Opens up the floor. 1 pistol. Can't get the last. Solotov gets the kill. Falcons will press on to face off against Secret, and Vertus Pro will have to settle for 4th place.